What you waiting for? It's time. Time for love. It's time. Time for the sun and sand. It's time. Time for fun. It's time. It's time. It's time to let your hair down. Come on. Come on. Come on. To have no fear. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's time. What you waiting for? It's time. 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 What you waiting for?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live broadcast of the Merv Britto Show. Welcome, 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 wherever in the world you may be. My name is Merv Britto, and on today's show, we have a very special guest, someone who I think would be apropos, a perfect person to speak to today, especially with what's going on in the light of what's going on politically in India, with the resignation of the Indian Education Minister after the protest of the CJP. We do the show on a regular basis, and I bang out about the age of education, the importance, and sadly, the lack of education and training of our youth to put them on a platform where they can compete with anybody in the world. Technology is changing rapidly, and I wish we could use more of it effectively to solve some of these age-old problems here in this country that we love so much, especially in our beloved Goa. I've been waiting for a while, and I've actually had the pleasure of speaking to him in advance, and I thought he would be a perfect guest to have on the show. But before we jump in and speak to this gentleman, as we always do on the Merv Britto Show, I like to give thanks and thank the people that make this happen, starting with the one and only Mr. Ajoy Barretto.
Hey, Merv. Hey, everybody. I hope you had a great week. A very momentous week, I feel, because of what happened in Delhi. And I'm really, really excited to talk about it today, or hear you guys talk about it.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the big fella himself, the one who makes this all, he's like the DJ on the show with all the buttons and bows, Mr. Wilbert Cardozo.
Hello, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful Sunday and have a wonderful week ahead.
They're not in the studio. Yusuf Mataji and Neil Rodrigues that make this happen. They're the guys behind the scenes. Neil's in the studio. And they make this happen behind the scenes. I always thank them because they put this stuff together. Without further ado, the beloved, my wife, who keeps me in check, Mrs. Joanne Britto, who's not on the camera and who's feeling a bit under the weather.
Feeling under the weather, so it's perfect timing, actually, to be out of sight, out of mind.
You look as lovely as ever, and you sound great.
Merv, have you heard? Yusuf has made an application for a new job.
Yusuf?
Yeah.
What job?
Education minister, mate.
I'm not going to make jokes about it because we'll have protests right here locally in Goa. Any shout outs today? You want to say any big shout outs, birthdays or any big events?
Well, I just wanted to say I was very happy that España actually won the World Cup last week. Argentina played very dirty. And so Spain they really deserved to win that.
Grow up.
They didn't lose a match all through the tournament. So
You've got a couple.
Just too many haters around, man.
You've got too many haters and dissenters here in the studio. Okay, I'm excited about this. Before we get to our guest, I got to do a couple of chores and pay me or what they pay me for, which is zero. This is a live interactive show. We do the show weekly. It is a live broadcast, and we love to hear from you. You can get in touch with us on social media, anywhere you get your social media. These are all the handles on the screen magically right now. Check us out on our website. You want to know more about us, the people that make this happen, and previous episodes, www.themervbrittoshow.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us, send us a message. Let us know you're watching. There is a number you can call on WhatsApp, 750-7246-246. Send us a shout out. Get in touch with us. Wish somebody anywhere around the world you would like on any special occasions. Here on the TMBS, the Merv Britto Show, we can connect anybody, anywhere in the world. You do not have to be Indian, Goan, or anybody from anywhere can enjoy the show. It's for anybody who's actually been to Goa, who's got a connection and wants to know what's happening live right now and is interested in what's going on. Here on the show, we discuss and give you our takes on topics not only affecting us here in Goa, but also around the world. Hopefully we have a laugh, and in the process, we can educate you and inform you about what's going on. The opinions expressed on this show are the opinions of the people expressing them, and not the expressed or implied opinions of the Merv Britto Show. Okay, I got that out the way. That's a mouthful.
We're doing edutainment today.
Yeah, we are.
That's what the BBC always does.
Edutainment.
Yeah.
Let's jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we are very excited to sit and chat with the man himself, the one and only Mr. Shawn Kenneth Fernandes.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Listen, when you talk about making it by the skin of your teeth, he literally, poor guy, was delayed. There was an accident, something bad happened, but I'm so glad you're here. You're safe.
All good.
And you made it in time.
All good. And we said we'd do it live, and here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Only way to do it.
Firstly, thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to make this happen. It's a chat that I think is long overdue. We bang on the show about the education system, our youth, the snowflakes that we have here in Goa. But we love this place, and the only reason, the whole idea with us doing the show, Shawn, is we genuinely have good feelings, and we want to see good things happen to this beloved place we call home. You call this home also. I want to get into you, the things that make you tick, what you've done. As a serial entrepreneur and somebody who's done very, very well, I think this conversation, this interview is something that could potentially help a young person out there, somebody listening that needs some direction, that could use some good advice. Everybody knows, by the way, I'm not going to keep calling him Shawn Kenneth Fernandes. Everybody's heard of MBS and what is Shah Rukh Khan? SRK. Today I'm going to coin... No, MBS, Mohammed bin Salman.
He's SKF, though.
I know. I'm going to introduce Mohammed bin Salman.
Salman.
DMBS.
We've got SRK. Today, I'm going to crown SKF, which is the one and only Shawn Kenneth Fernandes. Shawn, you're primarily known as a serial entrepreneur, an investor, an ecosystem builder. I want to know about what makes you tick, and possibly a recipe to how we can produce more people, young people, innovators like you. I'm going to ask you questions, and I'd love to get some answers from you. Where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about your background.
All right. So I'm a born and bred Goan. As far as I can remember, born in Vasco, right, the city is right out there, and moved around quite a bit. So I can definitely say Goan on all aspects. Very interestingly, moved out of Porvorim probably a month ago, back to Vasco and Panjim. So sometimes a little too much to keep up with, but did move out for a bit to Bombay, and we call it Bombay. Because,
Mumbai.
Yeah. But it's a feeling, and a lot of feelings and family over there over time. Starting with the companies, I actually started the first company that we had while I was in Bombay. And I was always a techie, but coming back to your question, which is what makes you tick? Mm-hmm. It is just a genuine love for building, you know. I just want to take a small moment to talk about the social network. Now, there was this interview a while ago where Zuckerberg was commenting on, the accuracy of the entire movie. And he said there were some very interesting things that they got right, which is clothing, mostly how he dressed. But what they did not get right is the fact that they kind of portrayed the entire thing as him building this platform to get a girl back.
Okay.
And what he said is, it's so interesting that people don't understand that some people just love to build.
Yeah.
They just love to build, and that's me at the end of the day. I carry many hats. I have 2 companies. I sometimes I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but all of it comes back to the love to build, and in a way also the love to impart whatever I've learned. So that's where we are right now, and that's how I...
Were you a good student? And what school did you go to? Where did you go to school, and were you a good student?
So my mom's actually a teacher. She just retired recently. So TPR first, and then Don Bosco in Panjim. And I was a good student classically until I hit Goa College of Engineering. And I don't know what it was. I actually do know what it was, but it's somehow in every aspect of what counts as a good student, I was not that. I never went to class. I got 6 back. I refrain from telling my students this because I don't want to encourage them, because not all of us have the same setups and everything. But I wasn't a good student when I went to college. And ironically, I now go back to those same colleges to give them life advice. So it's a very funny.
I was just going to say, though, the majority of the billionaires in the world are actually dropouts from university because they didn't complete their studies. There's just something else in them that was actually driving them. So were you one of these kind of people that was doing yard sales and things like that, entrepreneurial things as you were growing up in the neighborhood?
He started at 13, by the way. And I'm getting Joanne, you're jumping the gun. When you say you weren't the best of students, I mean, it gives us all hope because you've done very, very well for yourself. So this is primarily a conversation, especially now with the youth movement, what they have been able to accomplish. By the way, we should have given a big shout out to the Cockroach Junta Party, who has done so well. Shawn, they've set their goals, their targets, and they've accomplished. They got the education minister to resign.
I mean, that's exactly what a movement is supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what the criticisms were earlier, we are here. The last 2 days have really, there is a boiling point, regardless of political stance, wherever you are, there are problems, and we fixed a problem. Now, next steps, of course, we need to see where we're going with it, but we did do something, and the Gen Z did make an impact. And in that sense, the future of our country, it's a little interesting. It's a little more interesting than it was a week ago.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But like you just mentioned, I hope this goes in the right direction. I hope it picks up steam because you have awoken a sleeping giant. And I use two examples. I use the Straits of Hormuz with Iran, the Iran war. Yeah. And these guys, these youngsters that actually came together after one silly tweet, one statement, and these guys came to in a big way. They came together in a big way. And you've made massive changes. You've realized powers that you didn't know you had.
Absolutely.
So congratulations. Shout out to the CJP. Coming back to students, we bang on about this show, about how our education is so archaic. Kids are being left behind. It's sad because the system in itself hasn't changed for a very long time. You were lucky. You went to school. You had a mom who was an educator. But you mentioned that you went to College of Engineering. Does everyone's not born an entrepreneur, a business person. Tell us a little bit about SKF and what experiences shaped you to become, I know you like to build, but what, not necessarily the best of students, but what turned you and made you the person that you continue to be today?
So I think whether it was my mom or whether it was the environment I was in, there was always a push to make real impact, Cut the bullshit, just get straight to the point, which is if you're here to do something, the only metric is whether you do it or not.
Yeah.
So I was very anti-marks, but I do want to make a small distinction, which is till college. I did rank 93rd in the state before going to GC, which was interesting because the system till then worked well. But then getting pushed into this classroom of 80 students and I had a unique learning style, it just did not work for me, especially with the energy of wanting to make an actual impact. And I cannot tell you that when I cannot talk enough about this, when I was in college, it felt horrible. Because no matter how headstrong you are about things, if the metric is marks, and if everyone thinks that that's important, you're fighting against 79 other students in the same classroom and your professors.
Absolutely.
So there was almost a madness that took over to push through all of that, push back. And what I started realizing over time is while I did not study and not get marks, and I did eventually clear everything and get out of GC, but I did a TEDx GC when I was in college there, started 5 clubs, and I made full use of not being in class. So I think somehow with the environment I was in, with my dad who passed away many years ago, and my mom, there was a focus on, listen, just get to the point. We need to make impact. If you're doing something, you need to do it right. If you need to say something, you need to say the right thing. We don't have any time to waste on things that really don't matter. And to me, very blatantly, marks do not matter. Marks do matter to some degree in India, because that's one qualifier when you go for jobs and everything. But that's what we're trying to do. And that's what I want to be so passionate and talk about, which is we need other metrics which reward actual contributions, because that's what gets us ahead. Nothing else marks don't get us ahead. Contributions get us ahead.
Absolutely. And everyone forgets the results as well anyway. That will only get you so far. It maybe get you into the next step of your learning or kind of send you down a specific track. But it doesn't, at the end of the day, we all forget really what we did achieve.
It's only a metric. Like he said, it's a metric. Basically, you've got to know where you stand amongst the rest of it. But that's not important. I like what he's saying about the fact that it's actually what you take and do with it. Was there a specific problem as a youngster? You started at 13, which I love. What did you, as a 13-year-old entrepreneur, was there a specific thing you wanted to do?
I'm going to tell you a very interesting story. So you said SKF, right? So there is a reason why I use Shawn Kenneth. And that's because when I made SKF as my first logo, my first brand name, so to say, I actually realized there was SKF ball bearings. And that's when I learned the concept of trademark infringement. So the first thing I did was learn how to do design software, and come up with my new logo. And while I was learning all of that, passionate about visuals, passionate about tech, I just found that a lot of people around me, again, 13 years old, you don't think about impact, you don't think about solving problems. But if people are coming to you and saying, hey, can you get this done? Can you get that done? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then people are like, you should charge for it. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's how we have a business. So I think solving a problem and realizing that I could solve some problem for some people, that's probably what got me started and is with me to this day. And it's something that I'm very passionate about telling people.
That's great advice. And that's off the beaten path, because a lot of these kind of things, entrepreneurship, technology, AI, all these things need to be introduced in the schools of today. We're going to get to that and how I feel so strongly about our kids and they're starting off with a disadvantage because the actual system they're studying, being taught, is outdated. It's archaic. And Shawn, that is something we'll get to. What if looking back, what advice? Like you started at 13, which is very young. Was it programming you meant?
Programming, design, and a few other things. But basically, just me and a computer, just trying to figure out everything I can through that.
I don't want to date you or age you. What year was this? When were you 13? So you were lucky enough to be around in the IT age. Computers.
Yeah, I think I still remember dial-up in Goa. And so that was like initially, I actually started using a computer around the age of 3, which I don't believe, my mom tells me that. But I do remember like a game taking 2 hours to download, and that sound, that beautiful dial-up sound. So I am from that era. And I think a lot of things that hit the West came here much later. But because we have family all over, we did get a little bit of a direct line to understand what was going on in the rest of the world. So dial up, and then I saw internet reach where we are right now, where we can go live. And
technology changes leaps and bounds. And here again, I'm going to get back to our education system, which is outdated. Looking back, what advice would you give a 20-year-old SKF? Sorry.
Yeah. I would tell that guy to keep going. Because as I said, it was incredibly stressful. See, again, being very headstrong, I did survive. But going to class, getting the judgment from the professors, from the students, not from everyone else, but from them was horrible. I'll be very frank about that. So someone needed to tell that kid to just keep going. You have your vision. You will actually, make an impact one day. What you're doing is absolutely right. And just keep going. That's what I would tell him. Looking back, any mistakes you made or any failures and what did they teach you? I'm asking you these questions because we always start the show with every guest because there's kids listening, and young people sometimes seem lost or they could use some good advice. This is advice from somebody who's been there, done that, who succeeded. Is there a mistake or a failure that you had when you were growing up that you think it taught you something important? Somebody listening might help them. So maybe in the childhood, I think the main thing was, again, maybe giving energy to the wrong things. We all students, especially, we have so many proven career paths. Someone wants to go into an engineer. Everyone wants to become an engineer, and then they figure out what they want to do with the rest of their life. I was incredibly lucky that I understood what I was good at a little earlier, but there was definitely a phase of 5-6 years where I thought that you need to get this job and then you get respect, or you need to be able to do this and that, whatever, some programming language or whatever it is. it doesn't matter. It just matters if you are happy. When, as an entrepreneur, when you are staring into the abyss, when nothing's working out and the only person who thinks that things are going to work out is you, the only thing that keeps you going is if you really love what you do. It sounds a little cliched. We've heard this 100 times, but what you love to do and what you're good at. And I feel a lot of people chase the wrong thing for so long, they lose themselves, they lose sight of their identity, they lose sight of what they're good at just because they want to hit some other image or whatever. Yeah. Just come back to what you love and what you're good at.
My grandpa always said, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
So I was just going to say, because I think the word entrepreneur...
I've lost Joanne's mic.
...about quite a lot these days. So what would you say the definition of an entrepreneur? Because I think we can all be very assumptive, but people know what that is. But it's interesting for you as a serial entrepreneur, what you would say that is, how you judge that.
So what I think an entrepreneur is very simple. We have one job, which is to create capability for our employees, for our stakeholders, whoever it is. My job is not to do what we do. My job is to create the systems, to chart out SOPs, whatever you want to call it, to make sure that my team or whoever is involved gets whatever they need, whether it's tech, whether it's honestly coffee in the office most of the time, or, it's a joke where everyone's just doing the thing and all I'm doing is just moving and saying, do you have what you need? Do you want to eat something? Do you want to whatever? I think a real entrepreneur just understands that they need to create this system and make it work, and make it work without them there. That's very, very important.
You can't be the bottleneck.
Absolutely. I have dealt with being the bottleneck for 5 years now. And weirdly enough, just been a year where we've been growing so beautifully because I finally admitted that I can't do everything. My job is this, and the team is good at what they do. And we have a lot of things that we do. The team is good at what they do. Let them do what they can do. And I come in, close deals, and I'm also the salesperson. Every entrepreneur is a salesperson, has to be a salesperson.
Of course.
Because you can have the swankiest tools, whatever you do, you can have the best tech stacks. If you can't sell it, if you can't get any revenue out of it, does not matter.
You've got, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because being a micromanager can also be horrible. It can really impede success and the growth of your business. Some of the smartest people I know, and I always use the example of Barack Obama. He always said, might not be the smartest person in the room, but he always took credit for putting those people together. And like the ringmaster, you manage those people, let them do their thing, and I will help you. I don't want to impede you. I want to help you to succeed, because when you do well, I'll do well.
Yeah. So interesting here, a small point is people think that intelligence, classically, whatever we can measure as intelligence, numerical or linguistic or whatever you want to call it, people think that just because you have that intelligence, you can be successful. What I found is intelligence actually cuts you off from doing all of this because you start thinking way too much and you don't take action. One more important thing is bouncing back, the ability to immediately bounce back when you hit a wall. The best entrepreneurs I know just dust it off and just get to the solution immediately.
Resilience.
Yeah.
Completely. And also, I've been a salesperson my whole career also. And I used to, before I had that as a job, I used to think that salespeople were really snidey, dodgy people that you couldn't trust. But the point is, bottom line is, you just need to know about your product, what it is you can offer. Not that you are doing a hard sell with anybody. You're just basically, I'm giving you some facts. I can work with you. You can take our services. However, it's totally your choice. If it's not for you, we move on to the next person to explain to them and then see what happens.
Yeah.
These are all the secret traits, the secrets of being an entrepreneur and making it happen. Sorry, Shawn, go on. You were saying something.
No, I think when it comes to sales, I think the ability to take a no is very important. I very recently started getting salespeople on board because, as I said, we don't want to be the bottleneck, right? So after automating everything else, after setting everything else up, the last thing that I needed to figure out was sales. And in my head, I thought I was the only person who could, one, know the product and the service well, and two, who could speak and answer questions. But I can only do one at a time. But if we have 10 people, we can do 10 at a time. The ability to take a no is absolutely essential. And I told my sales executives, the first thing is, I want you to go out there, find 100 leads and get 100 no's and then come back.
Yeah.
Because You cannot teach that. You need to be fierce in business. And as you said, which is, if it's not for you, that's all right. A lot of people take it personally.
Yeah.
What I do, what we do does not apply to everyone. It does not solve everyone's problem. And we have that, sell me this pen, right? We have that beautiful example from The Wolf of Wall Street, which is you need to question whether the other person even needs to write in the first place.
Yeah.
And if they don't, you don't waste time and just go on to the next person. There's many people who need a pen. It's just not this person. It's as simple as that.
We talk about this all the time on the show because we do the show live every Sunday and we talk about how passionate we are about Goa. I want to get into the education system. Now, we're talking about a lot about what is working for you and how you could potentially impart some of this knowledge on people. Entrepreneurship, great. Education. Let's get to this place is you mentioned it in your intro, is heaven. I love this place, and we do this show because we're passionate about Goa. Our education, not only in India, Shawn, but also in Goa, is outdated. We need to update some of the topics, some of the subjects being taught in school. Entrepreneurship, AI, technology. The IT industry is changing leaps and bounds. India is often described as one of the world's fastest growing startup ecosystems. Do you believe the same is true in Goa, and that reflect reality on the ground? It's night and day. What do we need to do to get on a playing field?
So over the last 2 years, we've definitely become this hub, this beautiful startup hub. While I don't really want to name names, I do think that in this day and age, the government has been making a lot of effort, and I know that because I have been there.
You work with the government, right?
Yeah, we do have a few projects in and out, and I don't work with the government as much as we associate whenever we align our interests. I think that in the last 1 or 2 years, we've really taken off. We have more than 800 startups running out of Goa, and people don't know this. And I have this ick when it comes to the North in general. And when I say North, I just mean the North that we don't enjoy. We know what we're talking about. When I go there and when I start talking to people, I say, hey, I have this IT company. Oh, there are IT companies in Goa. Yes, there are, and they have thousands of employees. Thousands of employees. Verna Industrial Estate, mostly in Panjim. Even our office is just tucked away. People wouldn't even know. And that's IT. But we have fisheries, pharma, manufacturing. It's amazing here, and one of the highest per capita incomes. And people don't know this. And I think it's just a visibility and just like a branding issue, to be honest. It's really on ground because we work, we hire, we work with clients.
Yeah.
It is beautiful right now, and we are in a position where we can actually grow and get startups here.
You're not, I mean, we all agree, we're on the same page as far as knowing that this place is literally heaven. We love being here. We're seeing the changes. I got to ask you, Shawn, we're in the business ourselves. We run a small company with an ISP basically, and we know how important a lot of these small things that make the machine work, right? With internet, with electricity, with the infrastructure that we're working with. How can you bring Goa into the 21st century? I know you're saying there's loads of companies already operating and it's an IT hub, but in order to function like any first or second world country, you've got to have the basic infrastructure. But the point I'm trying to make is you've got to have the government working together to make sure all the departments are working together to be able to produce and give these facilities to these people that want to come here to Goa and succeed. Right now, with the electricity infrastructure, the IT infrastructure, Goa is behind the 8 ball.
Absolutely.
How do you, is there something you propose to change that and make sure the government's listening and make these changes so that it can be better?
So what I also wanted to say is that while we are here and we are growing, the internet is still horrible. I have 2 major clients which are internet companies, and I know that even though I'm saying this out loud, they also agree. But the interesting thing is, it's not because we lack effort. The connectivity companies don't lack effort. There's amazing infrastructure. It's horrible issues, cutting cables. We all knew what that was. I mean, we just needed to cooperate. I feel like everyone has vested interests half the time. Everyone's just on a different page. We need to have dialogue. We need to come together. There's no other solution. We have the ability to do it. For some reason, we just don't think there's an urgency.
But that's why you have the people in power. And it's not about politics. It's not about the party affiliation, none of that stuff. I'm saying to you, we're talking about internet because I know this in and out. This is my bread and butter. The fact of the matter remains, whether it's internet or electricity or any, the PWD, whatever the case may be, you need the big person on top, your CM, and the ministers to be on the same page, communicate. They can't be into this bow issue and he talked to me like this and he didn't pay me. None of that crap. The point I'm trying to make is, in order to be a successful government, you need the person in charge or whoever's running the show or the leader of that department to be able to communicate and make sure that the infrastructure, the communication between the electricity department, the PWD, the IT industry, all of these guys are working together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if I think you may not know that I know that you were on a panel a while ago, I think when we had the connectivity cuts and everything.
Yeah.
And the reason I remember that is because the president of the Goa Technology Association, which I'm a part of, was also there. And I think you know how passionate he is. I didn't watch the entire thing, but again, it was just about bringing it to their notice. We just need to be vocal, and we just need to let them know the man on top is the only person who can do it. As I said, we need to get on the same page. And honestly, it's frustrating and it's honestly pathetic that we are not, when it's just so easy. We can communicate.
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
We struggle with mobile signal in certain places.
Yeah, but we're scoring own goals. That's the issue. Essentially, the whole internet service provider industry has come together because they're like, we have to be united in order to make this work. This is our livelihoods. We're employing all these people, all of these businesses, schools, everybody. They're relying on us to be able to supply the internet service, obviously hospitals, all the whole infrastructure. But obviously, if we're not working together, it's not going to work. And so the disconnect has been with some of the official organizations, like, let's get this moving so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we can only do things together.
Yeah.
And I think, see, we all comfy, everyone's comfortable in their own lives, but the maturity, I think, in the last 5 years that I've gotten is understanding that we need to keep our egos aside, and we also need to acknowledge our privilege. You know, just because, see, I have an office in Panjim, and connectivity there is stellar. It works 99% of the time. But I lived in Porvorim for a good 8 years, and it was horrible. Okay. I could not operate out of that place. I had to come back to Panjim, sit at cafes, and then that became a bottleneck, then eventually set up the office. So, and again, I say that I don't know why people don't think that they can speak out. I don't know what they're afraid of. I think judgment, it's sad. What are you, like, no one cares. You are the one getting affected. Our businesses are getting affected. I have an IT company. We got affected that day. There was one very specific day that they cut, and South, a lot of companies, we got affected. We are losing revenue. We're job creators. Why are we, when we can just talk and get this sorted out? You know, it's very frustrating to me, and I'm very passionate about telling people, if you think something, just go. And in Goa, of all places, we can. Maybe not as much as 10 or 15 years ago. Debatable, but we can, and we know how to say it. Why are we not?
We interviewed Rohit Monsarat a couple of weeks ago, and we asked him the same question. Why are people afraid to ask questions, to question the police, to question your politicians, the people that you put in power? I have to say, internet is after electricity and water, it's a critical industry. We struggle every day, Joanne, and you're in the trenches with me. Yeah. We spend in so much money, we waste so much time fixing cables, and the poor disruptions, our poor customers keep thinking that we benefit. We don't benefit in any way. We waste a lot of times. Just if the electricity department just communicated with us and said, listen, we're doing maintenance here, turn off this, have an alternate plan or whatever. You're absolutely right. People depend on this. In the larger picture, when you have a government, when you have ministers that could just as easily communicate and get these departments together and minimize the interruptions to the people. You guys are paying for the service. Why should it go off because people aren't talking? Absolutely. It's not about, Shawn, are there three things? What frustrates you the most right now? And if you could change 2 or 3 things right now, snapping your finger, what would they be?
I think the first thing is, as I said, make sure that people say what they're actually thinking. give them the platform. I also think that maybe people don't know the law, and that's where education comes in a little bit. They think that they can't say anything. I want to talk about the police, a little controversial here, but they are still employees of the state at the end of the day. And if you're a tax-paying citizen, you have a right to demand good service. But for some reason, people are worried. You see a police car approaching, you are not thinking about what they can do for you. You're thinking about what they can do to you. I think it's horrible. That's one thing. I do not like when people don't say what they mean and then they whisper it behind there. You're not helping anyone.
Of course.
And the people you think are not going to judge you, they have nothing to do with your life. They're going to talk about you and they're going to forget it in the next 5 minutes. You're the one who's getting affected. Again, cut the bullshit, just get straight to the point, which is we have things to do. The other frustrations, to be honest, I'm very vocal about every day, Maybe talking about Goa in general, because I've grown up here, because I went to Bombay for 4 years and came back. When I moved to Bombay, I was there for a good year and then I took my first trip back. The first thing that hit me was the oxygen, landing in the airport. And then the second thing that hit me is when I entered Panjim, which I took that route for 20 years before going to Bombay, I suddenly saw the sky. And I'm like, wait, this is why people come here. I needed to go to a city, which I used to love and I still love, to come back and appreciate this. And it's the final frontier here. We have to defend this. It's beautiful. We need to fiercely defend this. And I'm very vocal about this. I have a huge problem with people littering. I have a huge problem with people trying to bring things that have nothing to do with Goa and trying to make them work in Goa. I have a very hot take on the cab situation, which is we Goans all have 2 or 3 cars. Everyone has 2 or 3 cars in the households. We arguably don't need public transport. But at the same time, a good successful place has good public transport. It's good for everyone. But at the end of the day, the pressure to do all of this is not for Goans. It's to serve a community that knows how to operate with cabs and rickshaws and autos. And while I understand that public transport is important, what I don't like is getting the big city mentality. I mean, you're escaping these places and then you're coming here and then you want to make this the same thing. That just doesn't work, for me.
You've mentioned so many things that we need to discuss about the police and not being afraid of the police, about the public transportation system, the infrastructure in Goa. If you want to operate like any big city, any big metropolitan city in India, Bangalore, Mumbai, whatever the case may be, there are simple fixes that your leaders, your local panchayats, your government elected officials can help make happen, right? But like you mentioned, you're not trying to make Goa like any place else. You come to Goa because Goa's got its own charm. You just want to try and help make it better. You mentioned the education. I want to get into this education. And we do this, like I said, there's a lot of young people that come and they're listening to the show, but that could benefit from you imparting your knowledge. The education system, especially currently with the national headlines recently, our education system is archaic. It's outdated. You talk about littering. It drives you mad about littering. But that all starts, Shawn, with educating in schools. Our education, our shalas.
At home.
Yeah, at home is important. You'd think parents would educate their kids, but kids spent a majority of their time in schools where the teachers are tasked with training kids. Littering, climate change, taking care of the environment, social, taking care of each other. Our education system in our shalas, our public schools and stuff, unless you're lucky where all these ministers are able to send all their kids overseas to private schools, our education system here locally is the pits.
That's pathetic.
So how do you expect kids to go through the system and you want to put them and compete on a national level, on an international level? You can't compete on a local level because you're not getting the basic education. What is your take on the education system and what you'd like to do or what you'd like to see?
Archaic, as you said, absolutely. So the thing is with IT, more than anything, at the pace at which it evolves, we learn something and then we need to update it 6 months later. Now, I do want to make a point that the professors are doing an amazing job, at least the ones that, see, they don't create the system. They have to work within the system and they are as frustrated. And I know this because my mom's been a teacher and now that we're building whatever we're building with the second company, I talk to professors, they want to upskill, they want to do this and they try to do it. They try to do it in the practicals labs, they try to do it in between. I don't want to name names, but one of my professors in GC, he knew who I was. He knew, in the sense, he knew what I was going to become. way before I knew it. And I never showed up to class. And one day he said, listen, Shawn, understand one thing. You just don't come to class. I'll give you attendance. As long as when you're out there, when you're not in class, you're learning something. And you're learning something important. You know,
He told you this. He said this to you.
He said this. And he said this in class. It's beautiful. So for me, we have systems. Now, systems take a long time, especially because GC and a few other schools and colleges, government aided or just purely government, things move very slowly. Okay, I work with the government, and even the government will acknowledge that things do not move at the pace that they need to move. And honestly, it's because there's no accountability, there's no pressure, there's no metrics, there's no KPIs.
Yeah.
And that's why it's typically a safe job, right? You can get into it. And the reason why you don't lose it is because no one's actually gauging your productivity there. But at the same time, I don't know how many of my clients are going to have a problem with that statement, but yeah, it's fine. But the point is that we can't change the system because there's so many people in it. What I think is more effective is plugging in everywhere possible, you know, being creative about it. The professors, of course, we do need to change the system, but it's going to take time. We can't change it so quickly. The professors need to understand that whenever they can, they need to impart more knowledge. They need to align these students. And Joe, you said something really beautiful about learning at home. I was just talking to my mom today. I make very busy moving around all the time, but I make it a point to at least spend Sunday afternoon lunch with mom. You know, we are very, we're hyper independent, and honestly, we're so headstrong in our own ways that we can't share the same space half the time, which I think is an age thing, maybe now that I hit 30. But what she said today, you know, we're talking about addressing people. Now, I go to these colleges and I address the professors as professor, sir, ma'am.
Of course.
Even if they're younger to me.
Yeah.
It's not an age thing because the students are listening to us. We are teaching them, and it starts at home. And the other frustration I have is the civic sense that we Goans have here. I don't want to put any communities down because we all are unique in our own ways, but there is a civic sense, a beautiful civic sense here. We don't litter because we know that that will be there and will affect us at the end of the day. We don't honk on the road unnecessarily because it's just disturbing. It's not getting anything done. In Bombay, it's so loud, doesn't make a difference. But
it's happening more and more here too.
And it's horrible. And we need to do something about it for sure. And I think that aligning and being vocal about it, absolutely. But coming back to the education system, I think the most effective thing while we're trying to change the system is to plug and play. Professors carry a lot of, you know, responsibility there. These lessons that these students may be identifying that they have not learned these things, that's when they're still impressionable. They can actually absorb things. That's when you still teach them that, how to address people, how to talk with respect, professionalism. I have a huge problem with professionalism in our Gen Z employees. Okay, and I've told them straight to the face. They don't understand that if you're late, you need to tell us that you're late. You know, you need to inform. You know, like today, a little whatever we had at the start, you know, we need to know. And if you need to go to the dentist, fine, absolutely. Let us know. You don't tell me after you go to the dentist and you're down for 3 hours. So these sorts of things, once you cross the age of 21, 22, you can't. You know, your brain does not have that same, you know, plasticity. I think that those lessons and learning how to learn. I love that phrase, learning how to learn. Trust me, this is for every student that can. If you think that you're going to stop learning once you graduate from college,
good luck.
Absolutely. I learn now more than I did in school and college every day. And there's no option, especially being an entrepreneur. Learning whatever's happening, we need to keep up. And tech more than anything. Tech evolves so quickly. We'll create a workflow, we'll do whatever we'll set up, and then 3 months later, we need to change it out. So learning how to learn. Not learning to, again, hit those metrics which no one actually cares about. Someone cares about it, Sharma ji ka beta, or whatever you want to call it. But what actually matters is how quickly you can learn how to solve a problem at the end of the day. So we can, these are simple things. And these are effective things. All we need is to have everyone on the same page again and understand that this is all we need to do. Let's just do it.
Absolutely.
Easier said than done, but of course.
I want to take a step back because our educators, our teachers provide such an important role to society. They're teaching the youngsters. And when you say plug in, you're talking about the new things and systems and everything that changes so rapidly, especially technology with AI, there's going to be jobs obsolete. But you need to change with the times, Shawn. You need to make sure that the educators have the tools and listen, you can't go to a school that is still working with archaic, outdated systems and teaching kids stuff that's been obsolete.
Yeah.
It drives me mad. And I always say, don't reinvent the wheel. Pick a country, pick a place where you'd like to replicate what's successful, what's working really well, modify it to your requirements, to your local requirements, and use it, right? But the fact of the matter remains, you still need somebody in charge, some politician, the director of education, somebody, your principal. It's not about getting a government job and being cushy for the rest of your life, but you need people to be transparent, to report, to make sure that you're earning your salary. But you need the administrators to make sure that these teachers are actually doing their jobs and teaching kids what you don't want to teach kids to be employees.
No.
Teach them to be entrepreneurs, teach them to be innovators. Make sure that you're giving them the tools to succeed, right?
Yeah.
You want them to succeed at the end of the day, right?
I was going to say, because also, in terms of teachers, they've got such a huge responsibility, and you have some amazing teachers around the world, globally, people who identify that they're maybe working with kids who have, attention deficit disorder, things like that. They can't concentrate. My cousin in the UK, he was actually buying and giving the kids cod liver oil capsules to feed the brain, just to, because, and he was finding that they were actually starting to concentrate more. They were being less disruptive and things like that. Obviously, they're like, well, you can't really do this. But, a lot of the time, teachers spend so much time with students. They can identify patterns of behavior and understand how you can really cut through and make a difference. And I think basic etiquette of how to live your life, how to really go out into the marketplace looking for a job, all of these standards. So many people, they just don't realize it's so important to get you ahead and get you to the next steps.
You interview a lot of people for us.
I do.
I don't want to get you started.
Don't.
Shawn, like you mentioned, my friend, just simple etiquette, just simple. Listen, a doctor studied, a PhD's 10 years, and teachers, advocates, all these people, they deserve our respect. They've worked their butts off to get to where they are, and they deserve your respect because these people are in charge. The question I'm asking is, why aren't our officials making sure they have the tools so that you can start now and harvest the crop 6, 7, 10 years down the road?
Absolutely. I think that, again, we as citizens need to make sure. See, the fact is it's not happening. Now, we can talk on and on about why it's not happening. We may not know the real reasons why they're happening. And we can't do anything about that. The only thing that we can actually do is, again, the last 1 month has been, a beautiful reminder that if we are vocal about it, if me coming here right now and telling people that I passionately think that this can solve a problem and we create a movement, that's the only way that I think it happens. Not to give anyone the benefit of doubt, but I do know firsthand, because I do spend a lot of time with government officials, how busy they get.
Yeah,
and
of course.
that is definitely to some degree why. And that's why we needed a movement so much, so coming from all sides, to actually finally step up and take action. Because you already have so many things. Now we can also automate, and we can also make sure that that system works well so that we are free. See, what I consider a beautiful place to be as a business owner is when I have nothing on my plate right now, so that my brain can just come up with new ideas. Now, it's difficult to say when we get there, but we all know that when we get there, we actually make some progress. So I think we need to make sure that our leaders need to get the noise out, get the unnecessary work out, stop wasting time on as many public appearances, because that does take time. You want to do 4 or 5. And I know, because I also have the same problem, which is we have work to do, but I also need to make sure that our brand's out there, and I need to run around. Okay. I have a very beautiful team that actually gets work done when I'm not there, but I also have to gauge. I have to say no sometimes, because I know that our work is more important right now.
Yeah.
So I think that alignment. And as I said, we don't know the real reason. All we know is that it has to be done. We need to make sure that they know that this is a problem. And this is not a small problem. It's our next generation. It's the future. If they don't know how to talk, it's so sad that this generation, whatever, the current 19 to 24-year-olds, they don't know how to have a conversation. They don't know how to have an opinion that's theirs and not their Instagram.
AI generated.
Yeah, and now AI generated. You don't know, I get scared these days. I mean, we've been speaking about AI and we don't know content in general. We don't know what is real. But now in 2026, today, we absolutely don't know what's real. I get scared of what we create half the time. And I'm like, how do we, we can use this for some horrible stuff. Think about disinformation campaigns. We have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 in India. Now, the tier 1 knows that AI tools exist. And as a techie, I've known AI for 10 years. Just a very interesting thing is ChatGPT and all of this whole AI wave isn't anything new for us. We know and we've been creating and using AI for 10 years. Just AI got a beautiful rebrand and it got that, the spotlight. And that's what revolutions are. But these things have been around. Now think about the fact that in a tier 3 city somewhere in India, people don't know that you can generate a realistic video.
Of course.
We don't know what they are seeing.
Yeah.
We don't know what, and you can run an ad. You can make sure that you get 50 meme pages to blast certain propaganda. Propaganda is the right word. So we don't know. And it's sad. So I think awareness, education, that's the only way, and being as vocal about it as possible.
We need to stop having education create examinations, like the educating of students for examinations rather than the real life scenarios.
But also focusing on your work for good, be positive, because obviously, we've all heard about this Jamtar and all of these Jamtara, the scams and things like that. So there's some people who have been forced into this and they're not doing it willingly.
They're using technology for bad.
But then there's also people that there's so much effort just to scam people from around the world. And it's like, wow, we could do so much good.
No, because your education system's teaching the students to study. You know how hard Indian parents are about education, your exams and all that kind of stuff. It's more about teaching them to survive life, technology. We were mentioning about AI and the advancement in technology. I want to get into that. AI as an industry is like a disruption. It's you mentioned 10 years. You guys have been doing this for AI is changing by the month kind of thing. Now with AI changing as an industry, do you see India's opportunity? Is it a disruption? Is it an opportunity? Is it a hindrance? What is going on right here in India? Because the kids in school, I guarantee you they're not learning about AI and the tech.
So I think it's an opportunity for us, and I'll tell you why. We have a trump card. We have the population, and we have a hardworking population. Classically, for the last 10 or 15 years, India's always been outsourcing in general. We have IT companies that do things cheaper. If I have a project that I do for X here, I'll be able to do it for 5X in the European Union, US, UK, whatever. And honestly, also they have dignity of labor there, which is beautiful to work with. I hate working with Indian clients, and the good ones I value. They know who they are, but I don't want to go back and forth on what a good deal is, and then you extract as much as possible. But at the same time, I think that it's an opportunity. There was actually a very interesting point here. I don't know which model it was. It was Anthropic's Claude Fable or something like that, the last one that came out. Because it was so powerful, they cut off access to everyone other than the US.
Yeah,
and we were dependent on them. But the thing is, we can do it ourselves. We can create sovereign models.
But why are we getting left behind, Shawn? Why are we not?
We value the wrong things. We just value the wrong things. There has been this high gloss effort to just be performative, just try to look a certain way. You don't get a laptop or a MacBook because it's actually working for you. You get it because everyone has it. Yeah. I think we just value the wrong thing. And as soon as we realize that we can, we can actually do it. We have some insane work ethic from my generation. Somehow, I'm 30, 95 born right now. I think that we know that we need to work. We don't have an option. And we need to understand that everyone who has this work ethic, we just come together. We don't need to compete. We need to collaborate.
Work together. Collaborate.
But go on, carry on.
Maybe 2 years ago when I joined a few associations, I started understanding that I don't want to take money from other goons. I want to make us work together, create an ecosystem here so that we can get money in. We can, someone does digital marketing, someone does content, and then we do tech. Instead of charging each other, let's all collaborate. Let's create something we can charge. Goa's a beautiful photo shoot destination. Why are we charging each other?
But you need a leader to do. You need, listen, you're saying all the right things. You should be the CM. I'm saying you need people in power to understand this, right?
Yes.
The government, I am not, we're apolitical. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not promoting anything here. We're apolitical, but you need the right government. You need the right jockey, as I call them, to be able to see these things, help your businesses generate more revenue for the state, bring more companies and drop the taxes. But the taxes that are collected need to be spent for the right things.
Exactly.
You're in for your education. We come back to education. But the point I'm trying to make is we've been electing these same people and putting them in power, right? What you're speaking is is common sense, Shawn. Why can't we do more of these? You've got the business owners, the business entrepreneurs, the leaders that are willing to work together, right? Why can't we do these kind of things and generate more, bring in more revenue for the state, collaborating?
We can, and we need to start now. It's as simple as that. We could talk about the past. We can talk about the fact that it's not happened. But now that we know it, I do a leader, absolutely. But we also need to have that responsibility individually. We need, I have this thing about littering. Even if no one's around, I surprise myself sometimes that instead of throwing the wrapper out of the car,
put it in your pocket.
I'll put it in my pocket.
There you go.
Yeah,
my pocket's going to get stained in there, but I cannot do it anymore.
Yeah.
It starts from here. What happens is a lot of people do these things in front of other people, and then as soon as no one's looking, they just throw it out in the road.
Thank you, parents. Thank you, teachers, by the way. That's who I'm going to. That's who you need to thank for putting it in here. But you should, Joanne. How do Indians go anywhere around the world and they follow the rules?
I know, but you've seen me many times. I've seen people just arrive in cars here to this building. They've been on a long journey. They get out of the car and then they just chuck stuff on the floor. And I just go straight out and I say, excuse me, the bin is at the side. Please just go and put it over there. And then they look at me as if say, who do you think you are? And I'm like, we live here. Please just put it in the bin. And, so I agree with you, obviously, for having your own responsibility and being responsible for yourself. One of the things that I find incredibly frustrating, because we have got an amazing team as well. We've got some great people who work really, really hard. They've learned along with us along the way. But then I just meet so many people. They just will rock up for an interview and they have got no clue who we are. They don't know what we do. And all there is, and what's the salary and what's the working hours? And I'm like, ooh, okay, red flag, red flag. And it's all according to your experience. It's all according to what you're willing to input, learn, grow with us. Because at the end of the day, we always talk about we've built the kind of business that we want for ourselves. We want to give the kind of service we want for ourselves. So we want to bring people along the way. So we've got experience from around the world, and we're more than happy to share that. And I do give feedback to people at interviews as well. I do say, actually, do you know what, really, next time you go for an interview, you should be doing this or that. And then I still also do give people a chance. And then you sometimes have people that come for half a day, go for lunch and don't come back. You're like, okay, whatever.
We've all had that.
It's depressing. And I want to ask you, while we're on the topic of AI and all, which jobs do you think that would disappear first? What skills are becoming more and more valuable?
So I talk about this a lot, and let me be very clear. Lazy jobs are going to disappear. It's as simple as that. We talk on and on about the job market and how the job market's completely disrupted.
Yeah.
But I think that we've had so many revolutions. We've had the Industrial Revolution, the Green Revolution. People don't seem to understand. And I think the dot-com revolution in every way was way bigger than the AI revolution. And people who were there, I was probably 5 or 2 at the time. But people who actually went through the dot-com revolution, they understood that things were changing. I think that AI, I'm an evangelist. Okay, let me make that very clear. I love tech, but responsibly use tech. AI can be dangerous. See, you have a kitchen knife, you can kill, and you can cut onions with it.
Absolutely. It's how you choose.
Yeah, it's about what you do. Tech has always solved problems. It's as simple as that. Tech has made life easier. What I think is people don't understand that the AI revolution is automating the mundane, automating the unnecessary stuff.
Yeah.
See, we have engineers sitting in there and doing data entry. That makes no sense. And I sometimes look at myself, looking at my phone and then copying something, typing it out. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So the job market, the ones who are, and this is going to be a little difficult to hear because people just don't want to budge on this. But I think the AI revolution's done one thing beautifully, which has shown people where they're wasting their time. People could get by with the bare minimum.
Yeah, of course.
And now you cannot get by with the bare minimum. You need to understand that these tools, and a lot of these tools are free, by the way. I do think about the fact that we have the big five, we have Google, we have, OpenAI, and on all corners, we have marketing. Every single ad that you see, every other post that you see is that, video editors are obsolete right now, or we don't need this anymore. This models now come out, can do this. It's all marketing. Let's be fair.
Absolutely.
It's all marketing.
But that's technology, and how
Yes.
technology is morphed to make you, to send you on your phone what you watch a lot.
Exactly. So what I think is, if people just understood that you were wasting your time doing the bare minimum, doing the mundane, and they were rewarded for it. If you use these tools, all of that is off the plate and the job market is back. It's as simple as that.
Sean, I call these guys snowflakes because now with the age of technology, everybody's got a phone. Everybody's got a phone. Most people have access to a computer, whatever the case. There is no excuse.
Yeah.
Schools should already be teaching AI literacy.
Absolutely.
They should be teaching teaching teenagers stuff that's going to be relevant in the next 5, 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
To put you on a platform, you can get on a plane and go anywhere. You can go to Mumbai, you can go locally in India, but anywhere around the world and compete on the same level. It's being done everywhere. Why can't we make sure that our leaders are not doing it or implementing or making sure it's being done, or at least giving teachers, schools, the education department. I keep coming back to education because your mom and my mom, educators, it has been a huge part of our lives. But give our kids the tools. Start now. There's a problem.
Yeah, but Merv, you've got people, we've met so many people over the years that have worked in accounting. You'll interview them, they did a BCom, they did an MCom, and they've worked in a company like 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And when it boils down to it, a lot of their job was just data entry. And you've got essentially the CAs who are really just embedded in Tally. Tally is like 1980s interface. We're looking at AI that's hacking into other AI companies. You had that report during the week, didn't you? And they had to close it down because it could have been causing a real security problem.
We're back, but I feel like our kids are being left behind, Sean. You are one of the lucky ones. Your parents hit the jackpot, basically. There aren't kids out there that are as lucky or had access to a computer, whatever the case may be. I'm saying for any kids out there that are listening, potentially, you have access to a phone. If you get off your lazy ass, quit making excuses, you could learn so much.
Absolutely.
And you could make that change. Don't blame everybody else. And I love something you just said a little while ago. You love to learn and you keep learning. I'm the same way, mate. I might be the boss, I might be the owner, but I'm always happy to learn. I never know all the answers, and learn from other people's mistakes.
Correct. But I say that to people when I say to people, what do you know about our company? And then they don't know anything. I say, do you have an internet connection? No. You have a phone though? Yes. You've got mobile data? Yes. So you could have done some research on your mobile data before you came. Oh yeah. And you're like, wow, I just don't understand that.
I'm going to get into his companies. He's got a couple of companies that he's started, that he's developed, but they do training of people that are going for job interviews in technology.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say, do you have things like Dragon's Den and Shark Tank in some of these forums that you have? Because
do you?
Some of that's what it looked like to me.
I'd love to talk about it. So if I can...
We're going to get into it. I'm going to ask you just a couple more questions about the government and governance. And I'm not politically inclined either which way. I'm not going to try to be controversial. The point I'm trying to make is I've got questions that drive me up a pole and keep me awake at night. And I think about how much I love this place, how passionate about it, and how our team, the whole Merv Enterprises teams, we do this because we want people to know that there's a problem. And I can't afford to take ads in the newspaper and run radio. This is a way for us to give back. You've got an archaic education system, but our government here in Goa, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off, our government here, and you've got ministers that have multiple portfolios. Like you said, you need time to breathe, think, expand your horizons and do new things. And why do we have governments and ministers that are working multiple portfolios? One guy's got 2, 3, 4 portfolios. Why can't you do one thing and do it right? Sean, and how can we get that to change? Because out of frustration, we keep voting the same people. There's no options, right? Now with this, what is it? Enough's enough?
Enough is enough movement.
With this youth, the Cockroach Junta Party, you're starting to realize that you actually have the power to change. How do we make that change starting right here in Goa when politicians, for example, the education minister is only the minister for that portfolio. You don't need to run 3 portfolios. You need to be bringing the right people in place, making sure they're doing their jobs. You mentioned accountability, transparency. We had Rohit mention that it's one of the most frustrating things trying to change systems because they're government employees. How do I get rid of this guy's not doing his job, but I can't get rid of him because of the red tape, the bureaucracy. How do we change this outdated system of governance where ministers are not being held responsible for their portfolios, and the next government switch will get these guys different portfolios where you're making, no, I'm not going to go there, where you're not doing and focusing on one thing and doing it well. Don't be a jack of all trades, be a master of one. How do you, because it's frustrating, Shawn. How do you change this? When do you start? How do you start?
So I think 2 things. One, which is being, again, making them accountable. Now, I'm not going to name names, and this is a conversation that I had with someone in a certain department, which is, we'll talk about my academy and everything later. But when I was getting this thing off the ground, this guy is amazing, okay? This guy's stellar, and he's there. He's frustrated, okay? And so I went to him and I'm like, okay, listen, this is what I want to do. Can I get the department support, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, just go ahead and do it. I'm like, wait, I need something. like he's like, listen, Shawn, let me tell you something. The government has assets. The government has XYZ. They have the finances, but the government is bad at business. Okay, because they're not actually earning from it. See, let's also not forget that being an entrepreneur, we are also chasing the big, we're chasing the prize. We're chasing the payout. It's as simple as that. Maybe money does not need to be the best motivator, but it is one motivator. The other motivators are, appreciation, recognition, and actual impact. So what I think is this system has just hammered all of these things out of them, where they've given them the illusion of, again, if you have, we don't have the concept of tenure in Goa as much, but we do have it in some places. But if you have tenure, if you have the next 60 years assured, where's the urgency to get any real work done? Because you do something. So I had this problem where I put in a small proposal to the department, I think 2 years ago. And I can't tell you how frustrated I was. See, we work with industry, and industry is blazing fast. We get private industry.
Yeah.
My proposal did not move 2 tables across 8 months.
Jesus. But that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's absolutely pathetic. I want to give a small shout out to our IT minister here, because he was someone who did not, he didn't know that all of this was happening, and he came and supported us regardless. And I think that's another interesting thing, which is regardless of how many portfolios you hold, it is also the person. It is the leader. It is a certain leader. Of course, see, there are serial entrepreneurs. People can do multiple things at the same time. Whether they should or not, we measure it and see. Having one minister focus on one portfolio is a great idea, in my opinion. But it is also the person.
You can't do so much, right? But you can't, Shawn, physically, you already mentioned
Absolutely.
it. You can't do all of these things. You just don't have enough time. Let's call a spade a spade. You just don't have enough time, right?
Yeah.
So why should your IT, for example, Rohan County, right? The fact of the matter remains, you should be encouraging business. You should be, the money's there. The money's in the coffers. There's taxes being paid. If you're saying the government's bad at business, why not change and get people that can help you to make the system better, to fix the system? I don't know. I've met Rohan County one or twice. I'm in the IT industry. We wanted to incorporate him and help resolve this problem with the electricity department cutting the cables. And I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because I really do feel it's a virtuous circle. Business owners and businesses need government and governance, and vice versa. So it's really, it's about maybe a flip to some ethical capitalism. Like, how can we do this? How can we move more towards that and have more collaboration so that it does feel like it's a two-way street rather than, dictating from on high, and then we all just have to try and fit in with it.
At the end of the day, we want to fix the problems.
Yeah.
The problem, Shawn, and I love the fact that you're on the show and you're speaking so openly, and you don't have to mention names, and there's no affiliate. It's not trying to sell anything. At the end of the day, entrepreneurs often say that they don't want the government to run businesses. They simply want the government to remove unnecessary obstacles, the red tape, the bureaucracy. Let's get things done. Let's work. We've got the knowledge. You've got guys like you, and I met when we had the show, I met some of the business leaders. These guys, These guys are at the top of their
On fire.
freaking on. And why can't you incorporate more of these guys in a committee that can sit on boards that can advise and fix these problems? Where do you think government has genuinely improved the ease of doing business? Things are sitting on tables. You've got piles of paper everywhere, but that has been the same way for a long time. And you need these administrators, you need these ministers to walk into an office and say, what the F is what is going on here, guys? Help me to help you to make the system better. Those are the kind of people you need to vote and elect and make the system better, right?
But what about Ruble Nagy? She won that $1 million prize.
He should have been the education minister. Now you've got this guy out. Who's replaced Dharmendra, by the way? There's a new education minister, right? You had these guys. Mr. Joshi. Prahlad Joshi, right? You know what? It's not about nepotism. It's not like, this is not America like Donald Trump put whoever he wants in power. You run this and you run this. Vince McMahon's wife, done. You're the education. It doesn't work, guys.
Yeah, but he's made her that head of that portfolio, but he wants her to put herself out of a job, and then they
that's not the point.
Then they move it back to like the
It's not the
States.
point.
It doesn't seem right though.
Prahlad Joshi's on your screen. He's got a hell of a task, boy. And I love the fact that the CJP has got him his new job, and I hope he does something, because these newspaper leaks, people kill themselves.
You mean the exam leaks?
Yeah, I mean exam leaks. Sorry, the NEET, whatever, the exam leaks. But this is you're talking about human life or death. The point I'm trying to make is I'm coming back. I bring it back to Goa because I love this place, and that's why Shawn's on the show to give us insight in he's developed businesses, and we're going to get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Merv Britto Show. We do the show every week. The opinions expressed on the show are our own opinions. They might be a little controversial at times. We're not selling anything. We're not being paid for this, and we're not paying for anything. But the opinions expressed on the show are our own opinions, and not the expressed or implied opinions of the Merv Britto Show. Shawn, this conversation I could take for another 3 hours. Unfortunately, we've only got 2 hours of a show to do. We love this place, and I wanted to have you on the show. You are a serial entrepreneur. You're a businessman. It excites you. It's what gets your blood flowing. Here in Goa, for example, you've got incredible talent, whether it's the sports industry, you've got IT, you've got tech, you've got people with brains that can really help the system, right? What would you want to do? Or if you could snap your fingers, be CM for the day, to keep people here and change the system to make sure people are getting paid accordingly with smart people like you and other business leaders, what would you want to do to change the system?
I think I would focus on awareness, because if the CM's speaking, people are listening. It's as simple as that. With my academy, which we'll get into later, I think that two problems that we are trying to solve, and the industry in general is trying to solve, is we have great talent here. There is a bit of a stereotype that we don't have any tech talent in Goa. We don't have people here working in there. We have amazing people graduating. The problem is they leave. They immediately leave because they don't know that there are companies around here. Now, I don't think that students who graduate, the first job, they do not need to focus on money. That's not when you're supposed to make money. That's when you're supposed to absorb. That's when you're supposed to learn. That's when you're supposed to become more capable and become indestructible when it comes to working with people and getting the work done.
Yeah.
I think people chase trying to get a high salary because you can tell people, I got this package, But then you go to a city where you spend 50% on that.
There you go.
It makes no sense.
Absolutely.
And people don't pay attention because they're focusing on wrong things, which is I got this package and that's it. I don't know what package I got for my first job. I don't remember because it didn't matter, because I was in a privileged position where I didn't need a salary immediately. Some people absolutely do, and that's a completely different story. We need to make one small distinction, which is not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Let's make that clear. See, I have the luxury of a few safety nets. Okay, we have to acknowledge our privilege there. And some people just have it in them. Some people have responsibilities. I know so many students who are the sole earning member of the family at the age of 18 or 16 or even 15 sometimes. Some of my employees are again the sole earning member, which puts a lot of pressure on us, when you realize that, for me, it's not a huge payout. It's business. But when you realize that is all they're getting, you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
But I think that the problem is that we have amazing talent here. And if I was CM for a day, what I would say is, dude, this is the best place in the world to work. What are you doing? What
But
are
you don't
doing?
appreciate it until you go somewhere else.
I
And
had
you're
to
paying
leave.
50 times more to
I had
live to
leave
survive.
and come back to learn, to remember that we can breathe here.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually wanted to always travel. For some reason, I have not traveled as much. I can give the excuse of like handling the companies and everything. But the truth is that Goa has everything you need. It has a little bit of the mountains somewhere. It has greenery, it has beaches, it has the cafes, it has beautiful infrastructure now. Of course, we have a long way to go still.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't really need to. I mean, this is what people work towards. You know, it's people work their entire lives to retire to live in a place like this, and we were born here, or we have roots here, we have the ultimate cheat code, we have this. So I think that I would tell them, listen, we have something valuable here. Let's work on building Goa. You have complaints that you're not getting good salaries, stay back and help us create those salaries.
Yeah.
There are good salaries, by the way. Absolutely, there's good payouts happening from huge companies.
It's not the norm, but there
Yeah,
are. If you're
there
willing
are.
to work your butt off.
Yeah. But if you want to get there, we need the people to work from here.
Yeah.
I can't be hiring people remotely from Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore
course.
because we have, but it's cheaper to have people come here. Let's be frank about that. And you can work better. And we are Goans. We know how we work. We know what we like, we don't like. We can work much better. I think that students really need to understand that these things that you're running away from can only be fixed if you sacrifice a little
Yeah.
and stay.
And you're willing to work. You're willing
you're
to
willing
work
to-
hard. Stop being a damn snowflake, Ajoy. Sorry, I didn't. That slip. That's a Freudian slip. I didn't mean. I didn't mean. I love him to bits. I just tease him all the time. People come here from all over the world. And the one thing I will say, I love this place. I mean, I've moved here exactly like you. I traveled the world. I did my thing and I came back to Goa. I chose to be here with my wife, start a business. We work our butts off. We work 7 days a week. The fact that the matter remains, and the point I'm trying to make is, if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to work hard and make the effort, you wake up early and you go and blah, blah, blah. I love when I interview people and say, you know, I don't care what you pay me. You first see what I can do.
Yeah.
And then you can pay me accordingly. And those are the people you never let go.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm most proud about is a lot of my staff have been here 2, 3, 5 years. And I love that. Treat them well, train them well, pay them well. But
Absolutely.
I also have to say, Shawn, and this is a big thing. We were lucky enough because my parents saw the need many, many years ago. You have to have that exposure. You've got to have the training. You've got to have the knowledge, the education of how other countries operate.
And expectations around business and, you know, infrastructure and education, all of those
You have to
things.
experience it, Joe. You've got to go there and see how it works and bring that back. Shawn's chosen to do it. I did this 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in the States. I've lived in the UK. I've lived in Southeast Asia, blah, blah, blah. Did my thing. But you've got to want to, you go, first of all, you got to appreciate what Goa has to offer. And it's only when you leave and you're in another place and the place is nothing like home. But at least you've gone, you've gotten outside your comfort zone, you've learned something, you bring it back home. There are so many opportunities, Shawn. You know it and I know it.
Yeah.
But you've only mentioned if you were CM, you would change. Listen, rather than keep people running elsewhere to make money, you want to make it more easy to do business and make money. Afford them, help them to succeed here, right? You don't have to succeed. It's not always about the money, but you can actually make it here.
I wanted to just touch on something because, Shawn, you mentioned this. Obviously, we have to acknowledge our privilege. And you also mentioned that you're employing people who are maybe the sole breadwinner, the sole earner in a family. So for you, there's a huge responsibility. So how do you deal with any failure when it's affecting other people's livelihoods who are in your employment?
He just doesn't fail. Simple as that.
Well, no, you can't just
Sorry,
say
Shawn.
that, though, because people also need to know from failure you learn.
You learn.
I love that question. I'll tell you why. Because coming of age, just turned 30 last year, turned 31 this year. I think that the only way to deal with failure is by failing and making sure you go through that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the thing that I've had now that I've not had for the last 5 years is the ability to bounce back.
Yeah.
Now, see, you mentioned responsibility. It is a huge responsibility. And if people have, you know, EMI payments and stuff, and you see, I have a beautiful team, but I've had failures. Okay.
Yeah.
I started one company way back in 2022, and then I kind of evolved it into my main IT business right now. And the reason is because just blatantly, it failed. Let me be very clear. It failed.
Yeah, okay.
It didn't fail because we weren't doing good work. It failed because I wasn't who I needed to be.
I love that, dude.
You know,
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't who I needed to be.
Right.
The thing about business is good real business, being a real entrepreneur, is it shows you that you don't need to grow the business. You need to grow as a person.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to use the term 1%ers. Maybe it talks about wealth more than anything. But I want to talk about 1%ers as a mindset. Okay. The life of business owners, very few people understand, because you need to show up when everything's on fire. You need to keep that straight face when everything's on fire.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times, whether it is working with my team or going on stage and addressing students or getting on a show like this.
Of course.
Something horrible just happened 5 minutes earlier. Today was a very fun thing, which nothing actually happened, but some actual bad things have happened to me.
Yeah.
And I had to go and show up because that's my job.
Absolutely.
Something about being a business owner, you have to acknowledge that you have to suffer.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to suffer and suffer so that you don't ever suffer again. Andrew Wang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, you know, when asked about this, he mentioned this very beautifully. He said that, what is the one thing you wish upon, you know, like entrepreneurs to be successful? He's like, I wish there was a better way to say this, but the only thing that I could wish upon you is failure and horrible experiences, because only the people who can stare into that abyss and see the entire world on fire, see their personal life completely going off, see money not like... There's this thing about people looking at business owners thinking they have finances sorted out. Oh my God. The amount of times that I have had zero rupees in the bank, but had to figure it out. Move money around from 5.
You don't have options. You got to do it. Work through it.
You just got to do it.
Learn from other people's mistakes.
And that's the thing. Thinking and believing that you can do it.
Yeah.
People think that
Believe it in yourself.
Yeah, believe in yourself. Guys, see, money is not real. Money is a representation of something else. You know, when you give a bank some money, it's not actually in your bank account. They've given it to someone else. They're making money off of it. I also think that people take some things too seriously. You know, money is important, but money is imaginary to me. And that's when you understand that you can just hack the system and make loads of it. If you know its value, right? It's you know, it's a lot. If you charge something, if you can sell the same thing for more, if you can create a better narrative, you can make more money.
But you've got to create something.
Yeah, you need to create something, absolutely. So coming back, failure, the most important thing, and I cannot talk about this enough. When I started my first company, I don't want to talk about those things in detail publicly yet, but 3 things happened at the same time, which was an illness in the family, and I'm an only child, so I have to really think about things like this. I was running the company as a person who did not know how business works at the age of 25, the first proper company that I had. And I also had personal issues, you know, with me. Many people don't know this. But we somehow did our biggest projects at the time. And I kept that straight face. Of course, at the end of the day, my head went off in a different space entirely, but we had to show up. Failure is the only thing, feeling and sitting in that pain. People want to numb the pain. People want to skip the pain. You need to feel it. You need to let it harden you up so that if someone throws another punch at you, life throws a punch at you, your business throws a punch at you, just dust it off and move.
You're willing to do something, try and fail, and more importantly, learn from your mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes, because you'll never get a chance to make all those mistakes. One of the smartest lines I've ever heard was, forget the mistake, remember the lesson.
Absolutely.
Mr. Britto.
We have a viewer from all the way from Egypt. And yeah, she says her name is Hadush. I hope I'm getting this right. Hadush Bey. Greetings from Egypt. Very interesting subject. So this is resonating with somebody all the way in Egypt. So
ask her if she's ever been to Goa. Ask her if she's ever been to this beautiful place. You're in Egypt, which is beautiful on its own.
That's on my bucket list.
It's on our bucket list. Thank you for that comment. We've got a bunch of comments. We're not going to read them all out. All over the globe says scary, spot on. Thank you, all of you. We're actually, Paul Lobo, T-Rex. There's a lot of people that are online right now. Mr. Pinto, is that Maracas Goas? I don't know if it's his dad or Ralph. I was going to ask you, This is something, Shawn, that I love, because you and I have said this multiple times, and a couple of times that you've mentioned, I agree with. We're willing to learn from mistakes, make all the mistakes in the world, learn from them, and get hard. At least you're willing to try. Yeah. We talk about governance, and I'm not going to get more deep into governance and stuff like that. Our entrepreneurs are ready to go anywhere else where they think they can make more money, and they leave the state. Like I said, if you were the CM, what would you want? You'd want to change that around. In what way? What do you think? Where would you want to have jobs in Goa that people could actually see the value, that you could help keep people here in Goa? No.
So talking about ease of doing business, first of all, I will say this openly. The ease of doing business is a joke in Goa and in India in general. Yeah. Okay. We look at all of these successful startups. We look at all of your Zomatos and your XYZ and your Zeptos. People don't pay attention to the fact that the entities aren't even here. The reason is because that works better. What at the end of the day, the business only works if the system works. This is a very interesting story for me. When I started my first company, I was in Bombay, right? We needed to get that initial stamp, the rubber stamp. So I just asked a friend and I just went out 2 meters away from my place and I found a guy and he got me my legal rubber stamp within 2 hours. Okay. That was my standard. I came back to Goa. And I remember trying to get one for the other entity that I launched a little later. And it took me 2 days.
Yeah.
How do you get work done? How do you get... And I had something to compare it to. Can you imagine that people don't know? The thing here is, over the last, as many years I've been running these businesses, I've had to find hacks. I had to find that one guy in that one random building in Panjim who knows one person who can do it 3 times faster.
But as a business owner, you've got to do it. Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't get done.
Yeah. And you always say, how can I make it happen?
It's not if I can make it, how do I make it happen? In the UK, you walk into a mobile store and you can have a mobile. You show them your ID, you can have a mobile operating in 40 minutes. Yeah, here it takes hours, the days. The point I'm trying to make is we always want to change the system. The system's been the same way for a very long time. Yes, you want to make the system different, but these are all government employees and government departments you're dealing with, right? You've got to shake the tree and make sure that you're actually going to make a change going forward. So your next government or the government if the leaders actually want to, by the way, if they actually want to make it happen, they could make it happen. Yeah. It's not easy, but you need courage. You need a backbone. You need something. People are going to always, like crabs in a basket, or Goans, like you mentioned, they'll whisper behind your back. It's sad because they don't. Everybody's not going to agree and support you, but you need somebody who's genuinely proud of the job they're doing. You need a spine.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to say, remember when you had your brand new car and then there was that out of state gang that came and they were like, they were raiding cars, stealing cars. They were taking car stereos, all of that kind of stuff. And his car was really virtually new. He'd had it maybe 2-3 weeks or whatever. And he went to the dealership and they said, oh no, we can't get that part. We basically had a friend put something on a bus from Bombay and we had it the day after. And we were supposed to wait 2 weeks.
Mahindra told me they couldn't do it for 30 days. A brand new Scorpio when I first bought it, when they smashed the window, I took it to the dealership. No, sir, it's not in stock. And somebody called somebody and somebody called somebody. One of my staff called somebody and we had it in 24 hours. So the big cities are functional. These guys are efficient. They make it happen. That's the scary part. And that's what I beat home about this place, which I love so much. And we've got leaders and smart people. And we're not bagging on anybody, Shawn. Yeah. We're not talking down and we're not saying everybody's. We've got some very smart, capable people in a beautiful place where you do have the money. You just need to govern and make sure it's being done right. Make the changes, learn from your mistakes, move forward. The way our legal system is an absolute joke.
Very interesting thing here. Because we do business and we started off with a lot of outstation clients, European Union, US, UK. Dignity of labor, but the respect for the agreement. Okay. Yeah. Now, the thing is, growing up, when we never had to actually take cases ahead, I didn't realize how horrible our system was, especially when it came to business. The thing is, and this is very sad, that I had to create safeguards with the work that we do on our end because that agreement it has nothing to do with anything. It does not get anything done. Small example, say a client doesn't pay and then we have scope of work, etc., whatever. And, the client's not paid. you can't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
You can't do anything about it. I thought that having a clause in the agreement that if you don't pay by this date, then I realized that, oh, I'm going to spend more on getting that case ahead than to actually, recover the money in. And now it's so sad that we had to do some things like take full control of the work that we do, the tech that we do, and only hand it over. Almost hold it hostage.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's not something I ever wanted to do. It's almost sneaky. It's almost unethical in a way.
But you don't have an option.
You don't have an option. I had to do that because I've been burned enough times.
I feel the same way. And we've been burnt many times where we've gone through people that begged us to do work. And in a couple of, it's not the end of the world. We've done it and we've been burned by it. But if you know there's a flaw in the system where we haven't been paid, we've got lakhs of money that's owed to us, right? By the time you sit and take it to court and to do this, you'll end up wasting your time and spending more, right? But if you know that's a fundamental problem, not in Goa only, it's in India, right? The legal system's a damn joke. Why has that not been changed?
I think talking about the legal system, the education system, every system, the only way we can change it is from the inside.
Yeah.
That's what I look at. I think we go in there, we need to align. And this is my hot take, okay? We go in there, you can only change it from the inside. Sentiment matters a lot. The leader needs to align people. The leader needs to let everyone know that your metric is not your package, not the fact that you have that job.
Yeah.
Your metric is the impact that you have. And if that is clear and if they're held accountable, that's one thing. But the second thing is you can't change the system from the outside because you can't do anything about it. You cannot do anything about workflows. I have so many opinions on how our government offices work because I have been there. Again, I work closely. I'm not a part of it, but I work with them and the people I work with are amazing. But they also have their hacks. Because they also need to get the work done. Yeah. Another, I really hope that no one makes this connection, whoever the viewers are, but another person, I love this person who I work with all the time. We wanted to work on a project and we wanted to work on a really great project. And I was like, okay, so very young back, like maybe a year ago. And I'm like, okay, done. Let's do this. Like, how do we go ahead with it? Do you want me to file this? Do you want me to file a proposal? None of that is going to work, Shawn. We have to figure out some corruption thing to get this done. I'll sort it out. I will move some money around. Okay. Yeah. And the thing is, that was an actual project that actually helped people.
Yeah.
And the people who really want to get work done, they acknowledge that the system is the flaw and they find ways around it. And you can only do that from the inside.
And those are the people inside the system, right? They know how flawed it is. And that's the frustrating part. CJP, if you're listening, CJP, are you with me? CJP, the legal system next.
Well, I'd be interested to see what they're doing.
God almighty.
They've disbanded the
No, they have not disbanded.
The
protests have stopped because they've gotten what they wanted, right? But you've got a long list of things that could really need overhauling and changing. By the way, Goa government, top 3 priorities, and we're running out of time. I'm going to ask you a shorter question because I need to get to some other stuff. Top 3 priorities for creating high-value jobs. Priorities.
Yeah. Make sure that we use more tech. First of all, the systems are horrible. We need to have everything automated. The second thing is create accountability, create KPIs, create reviews, create everything.
Love it.
And the third thing is using the influence, the power that you have. You have a position.
Yeah.
If you can influence people, just influence them in the right way.
And help.
Create the right things.
And help. I love that because at the end of the day, this is the kind of answers you need. People to realize, obviously you realize there's a problem, but you need people to listen, take notice, be proud of the job that you've been elected to do. You're a government official. You're being paid a salary. The people that voted and elected you into power are looking for you to fix and work and the best solutions to these problems. Shawn, can Goa realistically become a technology and innovation hub?
Yes, it absolutely can. And I'll tell you why. Because we have the option of a work-life balance here. The thing that I loved about Bombay, okay, and I'm going to talk about how I started, very important point here. I don't want to talk about what this shop was, but when I moved to Bombay, I still had a job. I was working remotely. And I looked at this small business in the corner. They looked not as privileged, not as educated. But I just saw the business and I observed it for a while. And then I started doing these calculations in my head. And I realized that this guy is making 2 lakhs a day.
There you go.
And I'm just like, I'm an engineer. I'm a computer engineer. I graduated from one of the best colleges here. And I talk about 50 things. But I'm not earning as much as this guy. I'm like, what's the problem here? The problem is me. So you have that sort of alignment, and then you can kind of come back to it. You know, you can kind of understand that it starts from you inside of it.
That's right.
It has to, and you see these all the time. These people are willing to work hard. They're, what's the word I'm looking? The creative. They're thinking outside the box. You're absolutely right. I know a guy selling biryani in Kanduli who's making a heck of a lot of money, and he's happy, but he works his butt off.
Yeah.
And I give him the kudos because he's willing to work hard to make the money, right? But in business overall, this place is a gold mine. And you mentioned it. It's an absolute heaven.
Yeah. So the point of that story was that we just need to understand that I loved my time in Bombay, but we had hustle. So that actually was the reason why I got that push. And I did credit Bombay for a while for my hustle. But when I came back to Goa, I realized that you can maintain the hustle in here.
Yeah.
But here you have the option of taking a break at the end of the day. Now, why do we have a high per capita income? Why do Goans work less hours and make more money? Because you cannot do great work if you're tired. You cannot do great work if you're always hustling. So why Goa can be and should be a tech capital is because we cannot get this work-life balance anywhere else.
Yeah.
We just need to work together with all of the associations, with all of the cable operators, with all of the internet operators, the government and everyone. See, we have someone cutting the cables, and then we have someone putting the cables back up 3 times a day.
Absolutely.
It makes no sense. We're all wasting time. We are getting disrupted. We are getting frustrated. We did have some action taken when that happened. You know, people did come together. But at the end of the day, if we sort out these basic necessities, the digital infrastructure, whatever, electricity, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I didn't even know how many power cuts we had because we had an inverter. And my mom had the foresight of setting my room up with one light and whatever, and the internet and my laptop, whatever. So I didn't even know how many power cuts we had because it was uninterrupted, right? But I'd walk out halfway and I'd be, oh wait, the rest of the house is dark.
Yeah.
So we have to sort these things, and we can.
Shawn, these have been happening for millennia. They've been happening for decades, mate. This is not something new. The point I'm trying to make is, and what you're saying also, and I agree with you 100%, why can't you have these leaders, these departments work together? You'll have these guys come and do the paving of the road, and then a couple of weeks later, somebody will come and dig the road and put an electricity cable and then repave the road. And on the other side, you'll have the water department, the PWD coming. So if your departments can't coordinate, communicate, and it's the guys on top, enable this, make this happen. You've got to talk, you've got to work together. Just like you're saying, in business, in private businesses is exactly how you are successful, is you work with other people, aligned people, right? Why can't the government do the same thing? You shouldn't have, in 2026, everybody should have bulletproof mobile connectivity. Everybody should have the electricity cuts should be a rarity. Internet, fiber cutting should be a rarity. Water outages, which is all of these things can be fixed, Shawn. And that's how you make a place like Goa successful, a hub. I want to go there and open up business. I want to go and move one of my departments over there and live in that beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's a paradise, and the infrastructure is being fixed.
Absolutely. It's back to basics. It's always getting that back to basics approach.
Okay.
We can.
Yes, you can.
We absolutely can. That's all we have to say.
Barack,
Why they can.
Barack and Michelle always said that, yes, we can. It can be done, right?
It can be done.
Short answer questions, leadership-wise. What's the hardest decision you've ever had to make as a leader?
Fire someone because they weren't working as much as I thought they should work as.
How do you handle failure when other people's livelihoods? Joanne's asked you this question, but I didn't get the answer. When your decisions are making sure the company's working and people are earning their salaries, how does that affect how do you handle the failure part?
You need to understand as a business owner that something's out of control. The only way, you don't take it personally. You're doing the best that you can as a business owner. You understand it's business. You understand that this is a problem. Sure, there might be some emotional weight from it, but you also chose to take on that responsibility.
It's your baby.
And you have to do it.
Yeah.
There's no other way. So sometimes it happens, you just have to go ahead and just figure a way out.
What does good leadership actually look like? And is this something that can be taught or it has to be learned?
I think good leadership is understanding that we don't have to boss people around. we need to work together. The leader does not sit in a different room. The leader sits with the team.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure we create that environment where people can thrive. And that's the job of a business owner.
If you succeed, I succeed.
Absolutely.
How can I help you succeed?
We succeed together. That's it.
There's no I in team. Should businesses exist purely to generate profit?
Absolutely not. Profit is, businesses, yes, technically profit, obviously. But if we skip on impact, if we skip on understanding that a business first needs to solve a problem, and that's it.
Yeah.
We can have, marketing, we can talk about our product on and on and on, but you can't bullshit people. If it doesn't solve the problem, if it doesn't make impact, solving the problem and making an impact maybe a level higher, profit will come your way. Money will come your way.
I agree 100%. Entrepreneurs today, what responsibility do entrepreneurs have towards society? Is how do we encourage more responsible and ethical capitalism? I know you want to be a success and make all the money yourself. How do you make sure that people are actually giving back a little bit, kind of thing? You're helping.
Yeah, so I think that we need to understand that, again, if you're in a place of privilege or we're making good revenue, that we need to empower. Whether it is the team, the employees, whether it's some social cause around, whether it is your community and eventually the country, understand that you have a responsibility. And the cool thing is, when you do this, energy flows in from all ways back to you. And we all grow together. As I said, we don't want to charge Goans for business. Let's get together and charge other people for business.
Bring the outsiders in, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I wanted to just know a little bit about the bridge aura, because I feel that
Joanne, you're jumping the gun. I was going to say, sweetie, we're going to get to Bridge Aura and we're going to get to his companies, Fluxomatic. I'm going to talk about them. I just got to ask these questions really quickly because we're going to get, and then we're going to
because I thought you were abbreviating some of the questions.
Is India's education system preparing children for the past or for the future?
It's right now for the past. And I hope after we're vocal about it for the future in the next few years.
Should entrepreneurship be treated as seriously as engineering or medicine?
Absolutely.
Is AI going to create more jobs than it destroys?
AI is going to take away jobs for sure, but they're also going to take away jobs that don't need to exist in the first place, so that we have more time to do things that we should be doing. It's as simple as that.
I love this one. Can Goa become India's next innovation hub?
Absolutely.
You've got some brilliant people here, Shawn.
We just need to work together. We just need to understand that we don't waste time. That's it.
I know a lot of these business leaders. I know a lot of the big boys, and these guys are smart. They've done it. They've succeeded, and they're always willing to work together. They're always willing to work with each other, help each other out, and just lift like all boats. What is it? All boats ride with the rising tide, right? The fact of the matter, that's private. That's the private industry, right? Why can't our government get the email, get the memo, mate? Let's work together. All your departments, forget about all the portfolios and all. It's not about only making money. We generate enough revenue from taxes. You've got some of the smartest minds of every industry here in Goa. Ask them to help. Ask them to get involved. They'd be happy. They're always scared about getting into politics, by the way, because you know what it does.
Absolutely.
But you work closely with government. You've got some very smart people that can actually make this happen, right? And that's the sad thing. Does India celebrate success enough or punish failure too quickly?
The latter, easily.
I'm a big fan of Goa, and I'm going to come back to these last few questions that are specifically Goa related. What's the biggest mistake the government of Goa makes when trying to support startups?
Not understanding that speed is the most important thing. Speed is the most important thing. If a paper is not moving, it messes everyone up. Just make sure that whatever needs to get done gets done faster, 10x, 15x, 20x. That's it.
Rohit mentioned the same thing, right? A lot of the departments, these guys take forever. And he tries to go in and help out himself, but it's been, the system's been in place for so long, he can't fix everybody's problem. But he mentioned that, right?
Absolutely, because
the red tape, the bureaucracy.
There's some objection, then it moves it back 3 months, 4 months, and then you have to start again at the beginning of the
And the only
process.
way you actually get work done is if you know someone there and you call in a favor.
And it shouldn't be the case.
That should not be the case.
No.
Absolutely not.
Because there's too much energy used up like that also.
It wastes time, Joanne. If you go to a department or you go to a government department that's supposed to do their job, you shouldn't have to pay any bribes. And these guys, in a timely manner, should be able to get your work done. But I love the fact that Shawn talks about papers moving from one desk to another takes days, and I don't know why the case should be. It's inefficient, right?
I don't know why papers need to exist in the first place.
There you go. And I say that about court. We used to have to take carbon paper to court and stuff like that. Everything gets written on paper. You see the reams of paper in the courtroom, and it blows my mind. I go to the panchayat here in Para, and they've got these ledgers. Shawn, I kid you not. They must have stacks this big of ledgers on the table. And I'm thinking, you guys generate enough money. Why don't you have everything digital? Start today. And work your way backwards, but start today. Make the start. The leaders need to understand your sarpanch, your directors, your chief minister, your prime minister, all these people. Listen, paper and that is a thing of the past. Use technology.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I've had 2 companies, 2 entities, and 5 years. The first time in 5 years that I actually had a physical letter to Inward. That story is the first time I ever had a physical letter come out of the company. It's all been emails, WhatsApp, whatever. And then I needed to learn how to like fold it the right way and put it into an envelope.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
I know. Well, we do that also. We have to send letters to different departments of the AGISPA, the All Goa Internet Service Providers Association. So I had no clue. You have to get it stamped and inwarded, and then you have to get the copy come back to you. So you've got that, and then you have to scan it. So you've got that to forward it to other people. And like, what the?
The very fact that we took that long to talk about it, we know how much time we're going to do it.
Exactly.
I want to get into the businesses because I'm intrigued, and I love the fact that you've done these things. You've got a couple of businesses. I want to talk specifically about technology and the training because we've spoken so much about education. Talk about both your businesses now.
All right. So we have 2 brands, and these are my babies. These are my absolute babies. So the first one is Fluxatic Global, and Fluxatic has been IT tech. So a fun thing about me is while I'm a huge techie, I also did have a bit of the creative space in my portfolio. I had digital marketing for a while and I love designing. So Fluxatic was my baby when it came to making these 2 worlds come together. And it's very ROI driven. Whatever we do, we deploy solutions, AI and automations, app and web dev, end-to-end e-commerce. It's very simple. Businesses have problems, we use tech to solve it. It's as simple as that. And one thing I can always boast about is 16 countries remotely from Goa. We've had clients in 16 plus countries.
Wow.
Honestly, in the last 6 months, we may have crossed like 30, I don't know. But the point is that tech has always been something that, levels the playing field. Okay. We can use tech to solve problems. It can speed things up. And that's what we're committed to doing.
Yeah.
Now, Bridge Aura is a very interesting thing. It's an academy and we train students, we upskill students, we make sure that they're job ready and entrepreneurship ready. It very interestingly started off as our internship program at Fluxatic. I had this problem where I wasn't finding people. To hire. So then my brain just started working and I'm like, hey, wait, I have a company now. Okay, it was surreal at the age of 26 or 27. Like, wait, I have a company I can hire. I can ask for interns. We started getting interns in. And then the interns were taught, we taught them what we were good at. And then 6 months later, once they graduated, we were able to hire them and they were ready with what we needed them to do. And because they worked with us, they had some allegiance, they had respect towards us. And you can't really buy that. You can have high salaries, but these guys respected us. From 38 students in 2022, we hit 240 last year.
Wow.
And we formalized it as an IP, the Academy, Bridge Aura. And that's where, our IT minister department has been quite supportive, but the industry, the ecosystem has been very supportive. I want to talk about one interesting thing. It's a not-for-profit.
Which one?
The Bridge Aura.
It's non-for-profit.
Yeah.
So you help train people. And this is what actually got my attention. I love that. There's a picture of him on our screens right now. I love the fact that you're upskilling. You're training people to go out into the workplace and get a job. You've got skill, you've got talent, you're willing to work for it, but you really need to polish the apple, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is non-for-profit.
For now. And I'll tell you why. I always wanted to keep it not-for-profit, but we do need cash to keep it running. And this year's plan, which is very interestingly going to just start in 20 days, we have 500 students And that's what I felt when I put the plan down.
Wow.
I don't know how we're going to make it work, but if we could make last year work, we're going to make this year work.
Yeah.
I really want to give a shout out to the fact that to all of the people who came on board last year, I just had to call people and say, we need to make sure we train students.
Yeah.
Can you give me your time? They just said yes.
Yeah.
All of the mentors that we had last year dedicated their time, volunteered their time.
Brilliant.
And the impact was obvious. And to be fair, as a personal milestone, it was super surreal entering that room that day. We didn't know if it was going to work out.
Yeah.
But somehow the slog over 2 or 3 months, when we entered that room, we knew.
Yeah.
And I had this one small thing that we said in between, which is, so we don't only teach tech, we teach them life skills. We teach them communication. We teach them etiquette. My mom came in.
I love it, dude.
Nice.
We teach them, we also expose them to more than tech, because not everyone that gets into it wants to be a techie. You know, not everyone wants to be a software developer.
course.
But you get exposure to 10 different things, you know, finance, business, compliance, strategy, stuff like that. And then let the students take a decision, because as I said, you need to love what you do and also be good at it. I also am a musician. I love music, but I don't want to monetize that because I love it, but I'm not as good to perform. But if you tap into what you're good at and what you love, which is my intention with Bridgeaura, I just saw the success stories and I'm just really happy. You know, people got jobs, people started up after that. And this year's on a completely different level.
That's
and
amazing.
on collaboration, if you can believe it.
This is what got me interested, and I wanted to speak to him because we've spoken about education. I didn't realize this is non-for-profit. I thought this was just something y'all are doing, which we direly, really, really need when we hire people all the time, Joanne.
Absolutely.
And if they had the skill and training, I'm happy. By the way, we've spoken about this at the airport.
I was going to say Mahindra was one of the speakers. I saw him.
Mr. Tiwari, was Mahindra there?
Yeah, he was there for my closing ceremony last year.
Although one of my competitors, a good buddy of mine, Ethernet.
He's an amazing
He's a good guy. He's a very good guy. But Joanne and I, we've flown in and out of Mopa a couple of times, and we always laugh and we cringe because the guys at the airport that are welcoming people in New York, you go to JFK, you go to LaGuardia, you go anywhere in the States, any of the airports, the people will guide you. Hey, go this way. You got a passport, go this way. When I came into Mopa, they just look at you and they're like, they don't want to talk to you. Don't talk. And these are the people in charge of telling people that are coming to your beautiful Goa, to your country, which way to go, your passports, your blah, blah, help people, blah. I would do that job for free.
Yeah, yeah.
If I could work at the airport and explain to these guys, train the staff, guys, smile, talk to people. People are coming here on vacation. They're in a good mood. Explain what has to be done. Listen, I didn't realize you're doing what you're doing non-for-profit. And if you ever need, Merv will come there. I will volunteer. But as long as it's non-for-profit, I'm happy to give my time. I am happy to come and help train these people because at the end of the day, this is helping and giving back something. We're lucky. God has blessed us with so much, and it's nice to be able to give back. I didn't know this was non-for-profit, and I'm always happy to help. You've got my word on that. I love that. Bridgeaura is a training of staff, and Fleximatic. Flexatic is the IT company.
Flexatic.
I love it, dude. Listen, this is by the way, I'm being told that I need to this thing advertise a social media sites. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the show and you want to get in touch with us, you can go and check us out. We're streaming the show live on all our wherever you get your social media. I'm not going to get into it. And we've got people that are connecting with us and sending us messages. The number is 750-7246-246 on WhatsApp. Check out more details about the Merv Britto Show, our team, and previous episodes. www.themervbrittoshow.com. Show us your love, support us, like us, press the bell, ding, ding, ding. Go on.
No, I was going to say, I noticed that you've done the I Was website and the marketing interaction.
That's very interesting that you...
Because basically that's his brother and our friend Dale, their business, isn't it? And their friend from
DMD
Europe as well.
Yeah.
This is great, and it's so interesting to have you because I love the fact that you're open and you speak your mind. You might not mention names, you're not an affiliate, you're not trying to promote anything, but these are the kind of people, Shawn, you need more people like you in the government, I'd like to say, yeah? And I know that good people hate to get into governance because it ruins their name, it sullies their name because of all the negativity tagged to the government. You need, what was her name? Ruble Nagy, who won that award.
Yeah.
She's the kind of person who loves educating children. She needs to be the education minister. You need people, you've got some of the smartest minds here in Goa. I know a lot of these people personally, but they need to be on advisory boards helping the government fix these problems. Obviously, the legislative system is a bigger problem. It's a national system. We can't solve it here. But as far as making Goa more palatable, a better place, a place that people want to come and visit, that people want to come and spend time, and on a business side, one thing, make business, operating business or startups, make it easier. But we have the goose that laid the golden egg. And as my good friend Walter Lobo once put it, we fried the egg. We're about to cut the goose because this is such a beautiful place and it's going to hell in a handbasket so quickly. The beautiful beaches, the warm, the people, the cuisine. It's such a beautiful place. And I'm so sad that we can't market it and take it. Obviously, you can't turn back time. But Shawn, you've got knowledgeable people that could help make these things better, make them happen. A lot of the stuff you're doing, I salute. I love the fact that you're educating and helping people non-for-profit. If anybody's interested, we'll have his details on the show. Post-show, we'll pass out his details. But I love the fact that you're a successful entrepreneur, businessman, and you're willing to give back because you love what you do and you want to help this place, right? Kudos to you. I'm coming to the rapid fire round. I love this. Is my favorite part of the show, guys.
Okay,
We're coming back to the end of the show. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Yes or no, one word answers. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Elon Musk or Steve Jobs?
Elon Musk.
Books or podcasts?
Podcast.
Wow, he's quick on the draw, man. Quick draw, McGraw. Biggest business myth?
That faking it till you make it is going to be enough to actually sustain a business.
It is a myth. It's stupid. You can't fake it till you make it. You've got to make it. All these Instagram, these influencers and all have been trying. Everybody wants to become famous, but you've actually got to work. You've worked your butt off to get where you are.
I know. And that team knows. We all know. We all know how much we work.
And by the way, I'm getting off the topic, but I love the fact that you keep on mentioning your staff and you love the people that you work with. They were the same way. We couldn't do it without them.
We couldn't do it.
There are the windows to our shop. And if it wasn't for our staff, and shout out to the Merv Enterprises Infinite staff, Flexomatic? Flexatic. And no, shout out to all these guys because they make it happen, dude. And I love the fact that you're doing what you're doing. One habit that every entrepreneur should develop.
Discipline, to understand where you fall short and to make sure that you fix that as fast as possible.
Awesome. One habit that every entrepreneur should stop.
Wasting time on things, vanity metrics, and making sure that impact's at the forefront.
This is two, but I'm going to make it one. An Indian entrepreneur, I would make it a Goan entrepreneur that everybody should know.
Too many people.
Too many?
Too many.
There's a lot of people in Goan, huh? One book that you read that changed your life.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Say that again?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, I read that book.
Beautiful.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
Brilliant, yes. Brilliant. I love that book. Good one. One decision you wish you had made sooner.
Learning that just paying people because you want to be the good guy doesn't actually get real work done. You need to make sure that you hold people accountable, because that really messed us up much early on in our business. And understanding that we're aligned and making sure that we're working towards the right goal and not just doing payouts for the sake of it or to appear like you're successful. That is one huge mistake I made.
I love that. That's such good advice. If you're listening out there, guys, this is something to just write down. I love the fact that earlier you mentioned you don't want to be the bottleneck. If you want to succeed, let people do their jobs. Stop micromanaging. People do have brains. People do have skill and talent. Help them to succeed because it benefits you. I love that. One more. Joanne, I'm going to leave you with the last question, by the way. I'll let you ask the last final question in closing. I've got a couple more things. 20 years from now, what do you hope people say Shawn Kenneth Fernandes contributed to Goa?
I really wish that they say that Shawn Kenneth Fernandes saved Goa.
Say that again? Saved.
Saved Goa.
Yeah?
Saved Goa from becoming ruin. As simple as that.
Mate, I'm in your corner. I've got your back. When your grandchildren ask you, you're only 30 years old. You're not married?
No, not.
Okay. When your grandchildren ask you what you built, what answer would you be most proud of?
Capability. That's, I think, if I can look back and say that I empowered people to be better, to get better opportunities, if I can proudly tell my kids that one day, that will be the most beautiful thing for me.
These are great answers. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we do the show every week, and we have people like Shawn on the show to be able to pick their brains, to ask them tough questions. We want to make sure, listen, at the end of the day, we're not getting paid for this. He's not paying us. We're not paying him. We're not affiliated with any government organization. It's just about bringing good, going people. Indian people, but more importantly, going people, and spotlighting the talent that we do have here. A lot of us get so frustrated with the political system and governance and want to change the system because it's hard enough as it is, but you want to have people in power do their jobs, the jobs that you've been elected to do, to make life for Shawn and other business people want to stay here. There's money to be made here. It's a gold mine. Yes, travel the world, get the exposure, experience everything you want to experience out of the big cities and around the world.
Yeah.
But he's a 30-year-old guy, and he's chosen to live here. He doesn't want to be anywhere else. Merv's 55, and I chose to move back here with my beautiful wife. This place, you guys don't realize how beautiful Goa is and how much you can really, really enjoy life. In the States, you live by the clock, you die by the clock. You work 5 days a week. You're mowing the lawn, you're cutting the grass, doing the laundry. You don't have time to think it's expensive. Here in Goa, Shawn, it gives you the ability to enjoy the quality of life, things that you don't get to do elsewhere. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad we had you on the show. As a 30-year-old, you're doing it right. You're the future. You've already done it. You've already made it. But I love the fact that you're willing to listen and learn. And I hope people in government can hear what you're saying. You can influence more people. You're working with them already, but have these guys understand that the young people need help.
Trust me, I'm as blatant about it as possible, and I will keep doing it as much as possible.
I know you will. I know you will. We need all the help we can get to make sure that this beautiful place that we call home, this place called Goa, survives the next few years. Sweetie, I've got to end it very soon. I'm going to give you the wow, no pressure.
You told me right at the end after stealing loads of my questions.
All right, you're not going to get it. I'm not going to give it to you. No, I'm not going to give it to you. Ajay, don't laugh. Don't encourage her.
I've got a question.
Ask a couple, sweetie.
No, so essentially, given that sport and physical activity brings a lot of joy to people around the world, we've just had the World Cup. Obviously, cricket is huge here. The Commonwealth Games is happening over in Scotland, in Glasgow at the moment. How important is physical activity and sporting activity to successful people living their best successful lives and having that work-life balance?
I don't think it's even an option. You have to have it there. Trust me, with the kind of life that I lead, with the kind of work that I do, the places I visit in a day, you have to be at your best. Recreation, obviously, you need to have a mindset, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not at peak performance, you can't get real work done. Yeah. Whether it's your habits, whether it's physical, and also at the end of the day, I don't know what this quote actually was originally, but see, tech, science, all of this grows us and creates a beautiful life, creates opportunities. But art, sport, music,
so important.
Yeah.
That is what we are working towards.
Definitely.
That's what we enjoy at the end of the day. Let's not lose sight of the fact that I run a few businesses, we all run businesses. We are doing it for a good life.
Yeah.
And sport, physical activity, if you don't have that part of your day sorted, nothing's going to work out. Your brain needs to run. You need to breathe. You need to get your heart rate up for at least a few hours in a day, and absolutely essential.
Are you a member of the 5 a.m. club?
So the thing is, I have to get up early because most of my clients are, so 5 a.m. absolutely.
Yeah.
And also being a night, I honestly don't know how I work sometimes, but I try to make. But 5 a.m. club, absolutely, because the first 2 hours when no one's calling you, interrupting you, is when you get actual work done.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad you asked. I'm actually glad you asked the question because of what is it? Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna ask him. He's a rock
I want to
star.
listen to some of that.
He's out in front of an audience, dude. That's what he also does. I'm glad you asked the question about exercise and all that kind of stuff, because we're so focused here in India. Shawn, you know this. Our parents are always so focused on education. Study. Sometimes you got to take a little bit of time to smell the roses. Stop. There's only so much money you can make. There's only so much success you can have. But you also need to take care of your body and exercise. Yeah. What is your favorite sport?
CrossFit. I know it's not technically a sport in every way, but CrossFit was absolutely, and badminton next.
You like to play badminton?
Yeah.
We'd love to have a game.
We will. Now, he's already spoiled my thing. He's also a rock star. He's not enough stuff on his damn plate, but this guy's also he's a guitarist. You play other instruments too.
I play 6 instruments. I play classical piano, 7-string, 6-string, acoustic, a little bit of drums, and I also sing.
What did you say, Prince? Dude, he's like, he plays everything. Say that again. 7-string, 6-string.
Yeah, 7-string metal, 6 strings, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, bass, which counts if you're a guitarist, a little bit of flute, harmonica, percussion, which is this, drums, and singing. I love to sing.
Put that back on the screen. And this is him on stage right now. Where was this? Where were you performing? Dude, listen, man, I would, look at this. Rolling Stone magazine.
You guys found Rolling Stone.
That's awesome. You know what? He's actually, he's so balanced. He's got it all under control and he's doing his thing. How old were you, by the way? Don't tell me this is last year.
That was 25 or 6, something around that. Yeah.
One last thing before she asks you the final. You were on TEDx.
Yeah, I was a TEDx speaker.
How does that work? I've watched so many TEDx and people are so smart about it. We've got TEDx Panjam.
Yes.
What did you talk about and how does TEDx come about happening here and going? How do they select or who do they select?
Yeah. So I'm actually on the board of advisors for TEDx Panji because it's always the legal entity that you have to have it. So TEDx is actually a fun concept where we have the main TED conference that happens at a global level, but the TEDx is getting communities or smaller, entities to have the same sort of concept. And basically, it's all about ideas. Now, if you want to, I had my first TEDx GC when I was in GC. So it's all about X entity, right?
Yeah.
And then we have TEDx Panji, TEDx Margao. The idea is very simple. You can apply for the license.
Yeah.
You get a free license to the IP for a year, and you can do whatever you want to. Now, they do have some guidelines where, I'm talking about this from the organizer's perspective.
Yeah.
They do have some guidelines that you need to follow. You need to make sure that these ideas, you have a theme, etc. We actually just yesterday had a TEDx Panji salon. So I was a TEDx speaker at TEDx Panji and now came on board as a board of advisory board member, and my team works and we do the websites and stuff. And all of what you're seeing is our beautiful success last year.
Wow.
So the cool thing is that TEDx Panji is a conference, but we also have the ability to do anything else with the IP.
Yeah.
So we did something called the Innovation Hub last year, where we took a lot of, we spoke about the Shark Tank style thing, right? So I use that term a lot. We got innovators in, they had ideas, it could be working, prototype stage, whatever. They applied and we did a whole set of rounds. I was on one of the panels, GTS President Mangrish was one of the panels. So we grilled these guys and we came down to 15 or 20 innovations and we made sure that they got some stage time over there.
Nice.
So I think the thing about, I really want to point out something. I had a very fun 20s were fun. I was a heavy party person. See, you found the music interesting. I dress a certain way, I speak a certain way now, but we all have had our phases.
Yeah.
I was a heavy party person. The reason I stepped away from F&B, hospitality, and all of these events, Sunburn, etc. I'm talking about working with them is because I did not want that to become Goa. Okay. I do not want Goa to become a party hub. I don't want Goa to stand for the wrong things.
Casinos.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't get me started on that. So TEDx or TED in general, this genre of event is something that's very dear to me for Goa.
Yeah.
Because we have amazing ideas here. And if we want to be known for something, we need to be known for stuff like this.
Yeah.
Not for, Sunburn was fun, but not for that.
Yeah.
I want Goa to be known for things like this.
Yes.
Ideas, impact. We have crazy, beautiful festivals. It's not all about partying. And that's when I started putting more energy towards IPs like this.
Yeah.
It scares me and it keeps me up at night when I think about how beautiful Goa was. And you guys are too young to remember Goa back 10, 20 years ago. 2 or 3 shacks on the beach. You had beautiful beaches and crabs running in the sand, all this kind of stuff. And Goa's changed. And it's sad to see it develop. It has to develop, but not in the way that I think is the right way. Goa's not about casinos and nightlife and all that kind of stuff. It's part of it, but it needs to be properly managed. Mr. Britto.
Merv, I got a question for you.
Bala Baba.
What is the Goan version, the concrete Shark Tank version in Goa?
I don't. I'm not even going to try to.
Shark Shek.
That's so bad, dude. That is so bad. Mr. Britto, you'll be here all week. I want Goa. I want Goa to succeed, and I wanted to be on. Listen, Goans should be able to go anywhere in the world and speak about this place and be proud to speak about it. as an example of a beautiful place that's been maintained. Like all these countries in Southeast Asia, they don't let people litter. They Thailand, Malaysia, all these countries in Southeast Asia are so proud of their tourist industry and their home. They don't let these things get destroyed. And here it's just the opposite. People are spitting pan and throwing plastics out the buses and all this kind of crap. And it's sad because it comes down to education.
Yeah.
My mother, God bless her, Thelma, was a lifelong educator, ferocious about her kids learning, educating. Whatever we can afford, you guys have to go to the best school. We went from Chimbu to Baikala because St. Mary's was, my grandpa, my dad went there. Education. Many years later, my sister Paula was teaching underprivileged kids. My niece Priyanka has given up her high-flying career to teach young people. It's a calling. It is so important to realize that's the rest of your life. These young people are going to rule the world.
Yeah.
And if you know, Shawn, by the way, you better give your mom a shout out, because if you don't, she's an educator. What was your mom's name, by the way?
Yeah, so Melly Menezes, and she was in Don Bosco and many other schools. Honestly, even I don't know, like, because I was like 5 when I started remembering stuff. Bridge Aura, in a way, is an ode to both my mom and my dad. My dad passed away many years ago. He was a serial entrepreneur, and he was a techie. So I think that Bridge Aura, in a way, subconsciously was just taking their legacy ahead. She retired a few years ago voluntarily. And she is the reason, and my dad also, when he was alive, they are the reason why I'm able to do this.
Yeah.
That's it. It's as simple as that.
Mention their names one more time.
So Edward Fernandez from Vasco and Melly Menezes.
Lovely.
Dude, what a lovely story.
Lovely.
And you know what? I love that you just said to me it's my ode to them. It's my way of letting them know this is something, because your parents, I can't stress this enough, and I'm an old fuddy-duddy, but you don't realize, and you do, but a lot of people don't realize how important our parents are in our lives, how much they do for us. In their old days, they're dumped in old folks' home, but these guys give blood, sweat, and tears to take care of us and make us and mold us the people we are, that when success or failure, they've done their jobs, right?
You know, the maturity that I've had in the last 4 years is understanding that they are dealing with that for the first time. You know, parents don't know how to be parents.
Yeah.
They're all learning it at the same time. And we will never actually see the sacrifices as kids.
Yeah, of course.
Because they're not meant to be seen. They're called sacrifices for a reason. I have seen some sacrifices. I don't know all of them. But I do understand that people, like, you need to respect your parents. Are you serious? Are you really serious? They are the reason why you are where you are, who you are. And they're the only reason. Yeah. And they have given everything up most of the time to be there for you.
Absolutely.
And we still, as kids, still have the audacity to think that we can demand more. Okay, it's okay to demand more, but demand what they should not be giving us in the first place. Dude, become 18, get a job, move out. Don't demand things that's not your home.
Yeah.
They built that home. And they're telling you things for a reason, the way they are. We will never see the sacrifices our parents have made. And for every 20 to 25, and especially Gen Z, please respect your parents. Please understand that you will never see what they have done, and you're not meant to see what they've done. Just respect them by default. Having a kid in itself is the biggest undertaking you can have.
Absolutely.
SKF, you're like a breath of fresh air, and I love that. I love that about people when they respect adults. You respect authority. These people have gotten to where they are because they've worked their butts off. I love the fact that you are respectful and you're giving good advice to young people. You really need to understand your parents. If it wasn't for your parents, you wouldn't even be around.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Britto, before I tell him what a great guy he is and say thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
You want to ask? You were going to ask him if you can join his band.
I wish I could play a 7-string.
You told me you're great. You play the fool.
That is a big revelation, and much respect to you if you're a metalhead. From a fellow metalhead.
I have 6 guitars, by the way.
Wow, dude! I'm working at 2. I have like a PRS or like a Korean one, and then I got an ESP.
Dude, you told me you play the vuvuzela. You play the fool. You can play a couple, don't you?
That's the perfect instrument for me. The vuvuzela.
He does it all. Come on.
So yeah, you've touched on this as part of the conversation, which has been great because we've touched on some really important topics and some fabulous messages for people to learn from. So many people do spend their lives chasing success, but there's a difference between success and significance. Okay. So when you're looking back on your life, How do you want to be known for the impact that you've had, not just on businesses that you've built, but on the people you've inspired and the country and the Goa you've helped to shape? How would you like to close on that?
I usually don't like to think about that as much because you do have to keep yourself humble.
Yeah.
But now that you've asked me, I'm going to
Absolutely,
let my
gotta ask.
brain work there. I do wish that, everyone wants a legacy.
Yeah.
I want my legacy to be, again, the guy that saved Goa and turned it around for everyone. The guy who thought it was valuable enough and took action.
Yeah.
I want to be that person who has empowered millions of students to actually to give them better jobs, to give them better opportunities, to start up and do whatever they need to just have a better life.
Yeah.
And I just wish that one day someone just says something along the lines of, you changed my life.
Yeah,
To me,
lovely.
straight to the face.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you changed my life yet. Maybe someone said it in their head, but
Yeah.
maybe one. One is all I need.
And I think also you can do that beyond boundaries as well, which is
Absolutely.
phenomenal. So you might never, ever know the impact that you've made for some people.
Exactly.
Like we had that lady from Egypt contacting.
Correct. Imagine that.
Phenomenal.
He's got a huge global impact. He's got a big footprint, and he's doing it right here from our beautiful, beautiful Goa. I don't need to blow smoke up your ass, Shawn, but it's been an absolute breath of fresh air. I'm so glad that we've had you on the show. Listen, it's very rare to have a 30-year-old speak like he's 60. He's so smart. He's so knowledgeable. He knows his shit. He knows exactly, and he's 30. For any young people out there that are listening, I hope this has been educational. It's been helpful because there's a lot of people that are going through tough times. Maybe you don't know what you want to do, what direction you want to take your career. Times are very hard now. I totally understand that. If this guy at 30 years old is accomplishing doing what he's doing, get in touch with him. He's got Instagram. He's got a lot of social media handles. He's got websites. Is there any way to get in touch with you, Shawn?
Just Shawn Kenneth. Just search for it. You'll find me everywhere.
He's everywhere, dude. But the fact of the matter, he's so down to earth. And we've asked him a question like, what you want to leave behind? And he said, I haven't even thought about it. The fact of the matter remains that he's making a huge impression on so many people by what he's actually doing. He practices what he preaches, and he is an absolute breath of fresh air as a 30-year-old successful entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, successful businessman. This is what you wish for your kids and generations to come here in this place. These are leaders that we need more often, people to do what they're doing to make this place. DJT's got MAGA. We got MOGA. You should do something. Maybe do a make our Goa great again kind of a website. You're doing it, mate.
Nice. That's nice.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I thank you once again for spending your precious time with us.
Yeah, and I would like to take some time to just the energy. We had lovely energy today. When we got in touch and when I said, let's get this going, and however you got here, and the fact that we just did this absolutely live on the spot without any conversation, I think owed to the team. While we were doing all of the promos and everything, I saw the team working really well. The two of you are absolutely lovely. And I just wanted that breath of fresh air the other way too. It's just beautiful. I think we can make some real impact. And thanks for having me there. I'm really honored to be here.
Pleasure.
I said this to Yash Fateh, who's a squash player, and we wish him all the very best, but I'm saying this to you also. I don't say this to a lot of people, but I've got your back. If ever I can be of assistance, especially when it comes to giving back to people, non-for-profit, non-profit. Joanne, I'll speak for my wife also. We're always happy to help. Yeah. This is what will make Goa great again. People like you willing to do. Yes, sir.
Eloise on the gram says, lovely talk. Thank you to both of you all, all three of you all. Actually.
There's a lot of people. I'm not going to read all these names right now, but thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for your messages. This will be up on the website. We will post this on our website. But Shawn, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you continued success. God bless you. I will definitely want to do a follow-up with you. I want to make sure this happens one more time again. Until the next time we speak, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the show and the team, join us.
Bridge Aura, eh?
Sorry?
Good luck to Bridge Aura.
Yes, indeed.
Coming very shortly.
Yes, indeed. We'll be doing this all over again next Sunday. We will do a follow-up interview with Shawn another time, but if you want to reach out to him, he's all over the place. Shawn Kenneth Fernandes, thank you once again. Until next Sunday, where we will do this live again at 6 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the team, this is Merv Britto. Take care of yourselves and one another.